For you at the moment.
Yeah, well, look, like, I mean, Murph started off as a half-back flanker, so maybe they just want to get him into the game first and then move him up forward as well, boys.
There's a look at the Western Bulldogs forward line, and Robert Murphy there, the man that Rowan just spoke of at the other end of the ground. A very interesting match-up down there. Nick Riewoldt and Dale Morris down there as well, which was suggested earlier as well. So we're just about ready to get underway. There it is. Dale Morris and Nick Riewoldt will watch that one with great interest.
And they've done the ringarosy around the defensive area for the Saints, and a couple of interesting matchups because Goddard's gone to Eagleton. Mitch Hahn has orchestrated so he gets Sam Fisher, and he's just going to drag Sam Fisher, I reckon, as wide and as deep as he can possibly get him.
Not the best way to start a game with a recalled bounce, but Gardner got the advantage in the second attempt. Look at Boyd, nose over the ball, well done to him. Opportunity now for Higgins, who's been in pretty good touch as well. Here go the Dogs, first to an attack. The Raging Bull Hahn, there's Johnson, picked up. Immediate shot on goal and just the minor score.
Very early, Dal Santo being tagged by Pickens, so they've identified their best tagger onto Dal Santo. Pretty smart move. You can't afford to let Dal Santo get too much of the ball anywhere on the ground today.
Would you consider then just putting Dal Santo straight in the goal square, full forward?
Look, I'd let him run for a bit. I'd let him run and see if he can outrun him and do a bad kick.
Oh, Goddard's kick has been gobbled up by Josh Hill, well within range. He thought about playing on. I suggest he goes back and takes the kick.
An important kick, this, BT. You know, Western Bulldogs under a bit of pressure to win this game. They need to win. This will get them off to a great start.
It will. Difficult angle here for Josh Hill. He's got some good skills. Little left to right poke up, and it has just gone across the face. At this end of the ground, everything drifts left to right. And Goddard takes a brave man to step to the line and go the short kick again, doesn't it? Get it over that man in front of you.
It does be such a great kick, and you know, sets up a lot of their attack. Goddard from those kicks out from behind.
Montagna wide and Farren Ray playing against his old side for the first time today, and he has been in very good touch with the Saints. Mark not played there, Acker, and that is out of bounds on the full. And it'll be a free kick going Jason Graham's way.
And straight away St.Kilda playing up the ground. No one in their forward 50, or Riewoldt just dropping back in their forward 50 now, but they're keen to really dominate the ground and then kick it back into an empty forward line.
Graham gets a long ball up there, goes Gwilt, couldn't quite hold the mark. Farren Ray said, I don't want it. And we'll have a ball up on the wing, the Doug Hawkins wing.
I think Farren Ray is at a fine start to the season. It's just clearing away for Stephen Milne, who also has been in very good form for the Saints.
They have 5 wins from the 5 attempts. Here's Higgins. Got some class, this kid. That one slightly off the instep, but will do the job to Hill. Hargrave.
Heaps of extras down back for the Saints.
Kicking to Minson. Attacks it in the air. McQualter. Fisher around the back. He is always in that position to receive off a defender in trouble. Gwilt needs to get a little bit more urgent in his approach in this game. Here's Gilbert. Well harassed there by Hill. Clever, Snyder, McQualter, sees Milne, could have gone there, doubled back, and Riewoldt.
Terrific vision by McQualter there. He didn't blaze away to an empty forward line. He found Riewoldt, and Riewoldt, I don't think he'll kick this, Jared. I think that he's a terrific kick at times, but his confidence, he needs to get off to a good start with a confident kick.
Very tough angle here, right to left, swing of the ball. A really tough kick to convert for the skipper. And there you see it going right to left across the screen. Milne elevated, couldn't get hold of it.
Why would they have Stephen Milne as the go-to man in the goal square? Surely somebody with a little bit more body has got to get down there in case it drops short.
And Jared, just on that, it's an interesting matchup on Stephen Milne that the Bulldogs have gone with. They've gone with Jared Hardbrow, who's basically a small crumbing forward, so he's got the job on Stevie Milne today.
Here goes Hargraves with a kick out wide, and not great because Goddard got on the end of it, so he redeems himself by sneaking one off the Dogs. The centering ball is excellent. Dal Santo will get a mark or a free here.
That was a brilliant kick from Brendon Goddard. He started off with a poor one, as we all know, but since then he has been spot on with the next 2, and that was always going to be a free kick. And how he got off the chain by that far from Liam Picken will be questioned by the coach.
The 150-gamer, Nick Dal Santo, from directly in front. There is the task ahead. A pretty simplistic one for a player of this quality. And the first goal with the Saints.
It's a terrific goal, and you need to kick those goals under pressure at the start of the game to put some scoreboard pressure on there to really make the Western Bulldogs hurt. But this turnover, I mean, Goddard really got in there and took the mark. And look, simple chest mark at the end, but to read the play and take the mark, and then a terrific kick into Dal Santo, a definite free kick. And not many players, as you said, Jared, get that space on pick, and he's had a pretty good start to the year so far.
How do you see the early 5 minutes, BT?
Pretty even, Jared, at the moment. I'd say if you're looking at something, you'd probably see the St. Kilda intensity just not quite where it has been over the last couple of weeks. A couple of opportunities where they've gone a little bit harder. Perhaps that'll rise in the next couple of moments. Need something to kick them into action, but it's been a very good start from them as well. Here is Hayes with the tackle. There's a man talk about commit the body over the last 5 weeks. I've seen some attacks on the ball that I've never seen before with such intensity from that man.
And expect these contests to be really tough in close here. This is where both sides pride themselves on being successful.
Goddard, the third man. Graham able to move forward very freely. Riewoldt caught behind. Morris did well to work it in front. Milne ran over the top of it, and Gwilt happy to concede the behind.
Set play that by Goddard to really try and clear the area. They want to try and get it out of that area, that congested area, and they would have had eye contact before that contest. Graham would have said, I'm going to be here, and go out to him. And terrific play by St. Kilda.
Hargrave with a high kick. Hudson's got some work to do, really had to, over Ray, and he did it nicely. Now he's corralled by Farren Ray. Handball across, always under trouble. Cross felt the pressure, didn't take the ball, otherwise he would have been pinged in the Fisher tackle. It was, Jared, it was very smart. Okay, a free kick will go the Western Bulldogs' way here. And Cross sends it out the back, Harbrow bound.
What they're trying to do here, BT, is go around the zone. But St. Kilda have done very well to push their zone across the ground and stop them from going around it.
Could have gone to Ackermanis, ignored that and went to free space and almost deliberately positioning the ball out near the boundary line, Brian Lake.
And the great mark by Hudson here over Farren Ray. Obviously had the height, but you still need to take the mark, and the knee in the back, you could have probably hurt him even more, Jared.
Well, you'll get another opportunity. I'm sure you'll take it.
Gardner with the back position, Hudson in front. There's Griffin, fast hands. Cross likewise. Sharing the ball, those two.
Got to get forward, though. The Bulldogs are going round and round in circles at the moment, but the zone from the Saints has been fantastic, and Riewoldt is just going to chop this up.
Reap the rewards there, didn't it?
And that's what they've been doing for the last 5 weeks, that forward pressure from the centre line forward, stopping you, getting the ball out and handballing sideways, kicking sideways. Absolutely sensational. And the tackling to make you cough the ball up.
Well, look at the numbers on screen there. Look at the numbers of the chase of the Saints.
Yeah.
They know it's delivering results.
Riewoldt comes in and couldn't capitalise. You're right, Jared. It's infectious, isn't it, that sort of pressure, and it just generates and propels even better standards.
Well, if you look at their list hasn't changed. The ability of the players hasn't changed. Some have got a little bit better, I guess, with development. Others have got a bit older. But you've got the way they're playing. There's a defensive mechanism in there, in the opposition's forward line at the moment, that is cutting edge in footy.
You can just see here that the Dogs are overcautious and incredibly wary of where they're kicking it, which is not their normal go. This one goes to a contest, and that's exactly what the Saints ordered. Now Goddard, a contest in their own forward half. Couldn't be better, say the Saints. And there's the result, Baker.
Nothing wrong with going to a contest, but you've got to have numbers at the fall of the ball, and there the Saints once again outnumbered them. And I think you've identified a key issue to beating the Saints, BT, and that you've got to get the ball on quickly.
Dal Santo on his wrong right foot. Cozzie's just snuck on the ground. Took the mark, ran, played on. Higgins with a chase, and Cozzie has missed.
Would have been a terrific goal for Cozzie, and great vision by Dal Santo just to look sideways, not down the corridor, and deliver it to him. Would have been great for his confidence to kick that.
A chase by Higgins, just enough to put Kazitsky off there.
The Bulldogs need to use the handball to break this St. Kilda zone. They've got the players who can handball and deliver with skill. They need to take them on and start handballing the ball forward. Not like that.
Fancy work from Halfbrow. Eventually had to run out of luck.
Don't mind what he did, though. He's having a crack.
He's having a go through.
Picken eventually was caught, and the Dogs have given away the free here.
And they need to run in 2s and 3s. They're trying to run one out. When you're trying to break the zone and trying to handball, you have to run in 2s and 3s so you've got options either side of you.
Gilbert Not a great result.
And boys, just down here at ground level, I haven't seen St Kilda live at all this year so far, but just sitting down here on the boundary, their pressure is just amazing at the moment.
They go. Graham, always the third man up for a St Kilda stoppage. Not Graham, but someone is always up for them.
Keep your eye on Lindsay Gilby for us too, Smithy. It looks like he also is being targeted by Lee Montagna, or vice versa.
All up, and Gilby involved in this stoppage. Here's Dal Santo backing out of the pack. Got it off there to Geary. Back to Gilbert. Upended. And Gilbert, the recipient, kind of wanted him to go on the angle. He did. His kick gobbled up by Gilby here on half-back. Jared just spoke of that match-up with Montagna. Two very important players to their respective sides. Gilby, very nice kick to the advantage of Hahn.
They need a big game out of Hahn, BT. He's been a bit slow this year and he's not doing the hard things that he normally does.
Beautiful body work by Eagleton. Got rid of Baker. He can run to the open goal. Eagleton gets the first for the Dog. Beautiful positioning kicks from the Dogs as they came forward.
And well done to Mitch Hahn to win the contested contest on the wing and then kick it long to the favoured side of Eagleton. It wasn't exactly to his chest, but it was on the favoured side, so he was better than a 50-50 chance of winning it. And he won it and kicked an excellent goal.
And he got it on without assessing. He just had to take the risk. You can't sit back and judge all angles. He just took off and just assumed that somebody would be there for him. And well done to Nathan Eagleton. He actually revolutionised the game there. He did a drop punt rather than a boomerang.
You don't like those boomerangs, do you, Jared?
I don't mind them when you're on the right side for them, but when they're just for a little bit of showboating, I reckon they've cost sides goals this weekend itself.
I agree with you.
Been infectious at the junior level. You would have noticed that, Herdy, at the under-10s, that they're all doing the bananas these days.
Yes. Bad coaching if that happens.
Boyd, I like it. I don't know. I like them to be unorthodox players these days. Here's Goddard.
Not at the expense of the left foot, though, BT.
All right, then.
Just, I know you've got a young bloke who's very keen on his left side.
Kuzitsky, Milne, sliding and diving. Says Riewoldt, come at me. I'll pop it there for you, Riewoldt. Body position, beautiful.
That's a great example of what we're talking about. Milne didn't know what was ahead of him. He played on, and by playing on, created a mark for Riewoldt. Riewoldt wasn't going to lead, kicked it to his favoured side, and something happens when you play on.
What do you do here if you're the goal kicker, Jared? You've just missed one from this identical position, right to left. How are you going to work it left to right?
I think you just go for the closest goal post.
And he's this time hoping to work it left to right, and he couldn't get it going at all. So he doesn't quite know what to do from that position.
Just inside the right goalpost, I think, on that occasion.
I think it's more to do with the ball drop for Nick Riewoldt. And he is one of the great kicks on the run, Nick Riewoldt. If he could just emulate that and get rid of all the other theory in his head, I think he'll go back to being a great
now look
set
at the
shot.
Pressure here again. Montagna with the initial chase forces that to go to a contest. 1-on-2. Johnson somehow got out of it through his good ability as a player, and now he's the recipient of this. The kick forward, looking for hill marks.
Much better play the last few minutes, the Dogs.
Fast and precise. Gian Siracusa. Goddard went hard. And look at the numbers here at ground level for the Saints. Lots and lots of them. Goddard can't concede, remember. Geary, very close to the line, hit the post with a handball. In the end, a good result.
I think he was actually trying to pretend he was giving it to Goddard, but there's no need. He could have handballed it across the line. There was enough pressure to, I guess, qualify for just dribbling it across the line.
Remembering that rule, just brought in to stop the absolute deliberate conceding, a la Joel Bowden last year. And you don't want anything in the contest to be involved in that. Here's ball.
Not sure about the kick of Josh Hills only a minute or so ago. He kicked it to four St.Kilda players.
Quinton Jones the target. Griffin got a hand on it. Much improved this year. Jared spoke of a couple improving. He would be one.
He is. He's got a big job if Jones is going to tag him, because he's in pretty fair form.
Reasonable crowd in on a Sunday afternoon in Melbourne. Live and exclusive to Fox Sports here. As Griffin cracks in. Dal Santo there as well.
And Jared, Matty Boyd's actually been moved on to Dal Santo now, so Pickens been taken off him.
So now you've got Kuzitsky and Gardner on the ground at the same time. Gardner trying to tend forward, I think, and trying to expose the Western Bulldogs height down back and make sure Brian Lake's accountable and has to play on a big player.
Bulldogs Boyd. There's a stoppage over the top. Higgins, nice grab. Immediately does that umpire, and then the kick forward is great, and Murphy's taken the mark.
Higgins is getting better before our very eyes.
Murphy's going to go for the long bomb, very close to the man on the mark. It was touched off the mark, in fact, so close was it. And was only ever going to be a minor score as a result.
An interesting move by Murphy. Started across half-back, I think, just to release himself and make sure he didn't have a player, and now drifted forward. A little bit beyond his distance, I think, for Murphy outside 50.
Why would you have Josh Hill in the goal square, B2, rather than Mitch Hahn?
Yeah, I'm not sure the reasoning behind that. I'm not exactly sure why that happens. Josh Hill normally playing up the ground. Whether they feel Hill's speed is going to trouble the Saints' defence from deep in attack. Here's Dawson. Great kick to Geary. Got a bit of wax in the hair as it stands quite sharply upward. There's
Anchor onto
Jones.
the ground, and he's got responsibility for Schneider.
Lake in the hole. Hargrave. Now the Dogs have got some space for the first time on their half-back line. Gin Syracuse can chip it in. This is one of the few times they've gone anywhere near the corridor. Here's the man with the sharp ball. Gilby. Long ball. Johnson under it. Two St Kilda players spoil. Handball by Johnson. Miss Murphy.
Good pressure, son.
Gilby follows up. Eagleton did well. Really harassed them. Griffin with the bullocking work through traffic. There's the Brownlow medalist. Got the handball off. Higgins on his non-left side. And has missed the lot.
Just starting to find a solution to Rubik's Cube at the moment, though, the Bulldogs. Haven't got the ball through enough, but they look to be more comfortable with the Saints' pressure.
Yeah, definitely both sides testing each other out, Gerard. I mean, the pattern of the game, it hasn't settled down into a pattern. Either side can really get clear disposal or clear run. That'll come, but the pressure from both sides and the defensive actions have been terrific so far.
It is very interesting watching it evolve, isn't it? I agree. They've just, the last couple of minutes, the Dogs working and finding a bit of space, but here are the Saints on the counter-attack. Umpire went down in the middle and lost his mic momentarily as Graham rams it. Riewoldt bound. Couldn't hold the mark down. Recovered his own good work. In goes an opportunity there for Andreas Everett, but he backed out of there pretty quickly.
I'm not sure Akamanis has chased that hard since he left the Brisbane Lions. A terrific chase and just got a hand on Graham at the last minute to affect the kick. But that perceived pressure is great from Akamanis, and that's what he needs to do more of.
Knocked to the boundary, and Milne concedes.
Kazitsky versus Lake. In the goal square, Smithy, and the runner just went out to Kazitsky.
Yeah, he just went out to Kazitsky, probably going to rotate him up into the ruck. He's just need a little bit of run out of that ruck work in the middle of the ground, Jared.
Beautiful hands in the middle. Look at the turning ability of Murphy. The kick not so good. Minson not quite as manoeuvrable as Zach Dawson. 50-metre penalty there.
Look, and I know the ball was a floater from Murphy into Minson, but he has to get his hand on that and make a contest of that ball. He can't afford, firstly, to miss the ball and then to give a free kick away like this that'll give St Kilda a shot at goal.
50-metre penalty for dealing with the player after he clearly got rid of the ball and blocked his intent to run, one of the new rules.
Yep. Poor play by Minson all round. Zach Dawson lining up for goal, B2.
Yes, this wouldn't happen too often. Oh. Gave the handball off. Goddard likes to get involved in these. Sends it a long way forward and a goal.
I don't know about you, Jerry, but if I was coaching and you see Goddard go anywhere near Zach Dawson with a ball, you can't let that happen.
No, Goddard's man needs to have a very good look at himself, as does Will Minson, because he was the one who, I guess, laid the foundations for that goal. And it's disappointing because the Dogs have actually been supreme the last 3 or 4 minutes, but they haven't actually put any result on the scoreboard. And St Kilda, with so many good kicks behind the football, have to be watched on every circumstance.
AFL football at the moment is about making the most of your opportunities. If you don't make the most of those opportunities, both sides have missed goals they should have kicked. 1-4 to 2-5. I think both sides should have had 2 or 3 more goals on the board.
6 touches of the ball already, Brendon Goddard. And leads the Saints in terms of
free kick
possessions.
Yep. I reckon they've got to make a change there, Smithy. Put Hudson either at full forward or on the bench and get Minson into the game. Get him a couple of touches.
Yeah, they just need to get him into the game, as you said, Jared. But they need a target up forward. It just keeps falling down for him up forward at the moment.
No King this week. They'll Gardner and Kazitsky combination with ruck and forward work. Here's an opportunity for the Dogs now to work the ball forward, and Cross has got it. Gives the ball back. May have been late to advance it forward. Kick didn't quite get to Johnson. There's Farren Ray.
Jono's been sick all week, BT, and the way he went at that contest, it looks like he's a little bit flat and not quite up for the game at the moment.
Montagna, I think he didn't have any swine flu, did he?
I don't think it was swine flu, just piglet flu, maybe.
The normal flu.
Yes.
We're hoping. Geary
Gone up.
with the menace in the tackle. Here they go. The kick is fantastic. Riewoldt with the extended arms. Couldn't quite pull the mark in. Now Boyd tidies up. Beautiful handball. Gian Siracusa. Halfback. Tried to be a little bit creative then. It's come off. Addison's got the ball now for the Dogs. Consented to an attack. Minson's got a better cup. Oh! Did it brilliantly. Looked to work the handball on. Instead got the corner around. The kick around the corner. It wasn't great. Had a lot of hang time. And look how many Saints got back to address the situation.
But a positive sign. He's taken the grab. He's got it on. Okay, they've mucked it up, but it might pay dividends down the track.
Very nice work from Big Will Minson.
It's amazing what that can do for your confidence, Jared. If you're struggling a little bit, not getting the contest, to take a mark like that.
Good running there
Here's Dawson.
by McQualter. He's working really hard off the ball.
Gilbert, who's been a revelation this year as well. Geary. The Saints in control at the moment. 7 points in advance of the Dogs. Short ball finds Hayes.
Goddard away here, BT, if they can get it to him.
Look at the space he had in the middle. Josh Hill able to close him down, although ran past him, and now Goddard long ball. Riewoldt restricted in his run forward. Harbrow tidy it up in the back pocket.
Oh.
He was under very little pressure then.
Look, it hurts you when Western Bulldogs and St.Kilda are both pushing players back into defence. If you do that, you have to make sure when you come out, when you win the ball in defence and then come out, you dispose of it properly. That sort of kick, I know it's a mistake, he didn't mean to do it, but it really hurts you.
Goddard beautifully to Riewoldt. Almost put it into a position where Riewoldt could do nothing but come forward at the ball.
Well, this is when you're going to use a banana or a boomerang. But I reckon if Addison has another look at that tape, he'll look and ask himself, why didn't I support myself? Now, there's a push-off. Addison was just a bit slow to react. Didn't block up that space.
Didn't think he'd go that deep on the angle. He's gone the straight drop punt, and this is a better connection.
He's had 3 shots from that angle. This one a little bit closer than the other 2. And he's missed all 3.
Yep.
And boys, Dale Morris is a little bit of a master of pushing you out towards towards the boundary line, so he's doing well at the moment.
Well, he is, but if Riewoldt had kicked the 3 goals, it wouldn't have been so good. But you're right, he does create a bit of angle about it, which is exactly what Rowan's referring to. There's Harbrow. Ball out wide looking for Hargrave.
And I just think when you play St Kilda, it's easy to say, it's hard to do. You just got to work it out with handball. If you try and kick it back and forth laterally, you're not going to get it through their zone defence.
Boundary throw in. Gardner doing the ruck work. Marcamanis. Cross. Good hands. Higgins. Through the middle of the ground, goes wide. Minson's got the break on his opponent. Handball over the top to Boyd. He knew not to grab it. Got it to Gian Siracusa. Could have been a free downfield. Murphy did well to keep the ball in front and keep it alive. Higgins probably got slightly in his way in the end. Milne's kick not good. Harbrow.
Got to slow down, make a good decision.
Just about every St Kilda player is forward of where the ball is at the moment. In fact, every St Kilda player is forward the ball. Here's Harbrow looking to run it through the traffic here, the Dogs. They did this well against the Hawks zone down in Launceston last year. Here is Griffin. Goddard got him. Now Milne. Milne a great example of someone coming to defend when he's primarily a forward. Dal Santo over the top. The counter-attack for the Saints looks good. It's an open forward line. Wilt can get it over the top to the fleet-footed Montagna. Montagna won't mark it. Can he get a foot to it?
Brilliant.
A hand on it in the end.
Great footy all round for the Saints. Pressure in defence, rebound footy, and then that run and desperate lunge was absolutely superb by Picken.
Good footy. He's late to Boyd. The ball around the corner from Andreas Everett finds Gian Siracusa. Darren Ray copying a bit of a stick from his former fans out there. Acker to Everett. I think it's his first inclusion in the side this year. Is that right, Rowan Smith, that Everett's first game?
Yeah, it sure is, BT.
Addison on the boundary line. Murphy in front, as he always does, presents up, and as a result of Murphy being a danger, it's certainly...
He's working hard, Murphy, isn't he, BT, to provide an option?
And he took that deeper roll. Now Mitch Hahn comes onto the ground. He's got to be able to provide that same effective target. That's a poor tackle.
Kept Fisher on his toes as well. Here's McQualter. Got something in the middle in Graham. He finds him. Graham's a thumping kick, remember. Lines up from beyond 50. This one's offline.
Yeah, I think he should have gone to Milne. Milne had plenty of space and should have dropped it in a bit shorter to Stevie Milne. But St Kilda's forward line doesn't have a lot of structure at the moment, and that tackle has to be stuck. So that's what hurts you if that tackle's not stuck. But St Kilda's forward line, they're preferring to play up the ground and try and kick it over the top to leading players going backwards.
Yeah, I'm not sure Acker was expecting that handball then. He should have been, but he looked very flat-footed. In the end, Addison over the line out of bounds.
You just got to be impressed with St Kilda. You have to work so hard to get it over the centre of the ground when you're playing the Saints. They're committed to keeping you in their half.
Minson. Nice work over the back, but no one home. Good tackle on the end by the Dogs. Here's Ray, who's starting to get a bit of it now. Milne goes to work on Harbrow. What can he do? Harbrow just straight at him and holds him in the tackle. Well done. Brilliant play from Harbrow. Everett under enormous geary Blake pressure it was. His ball kept it alive. The Saints, Ray will send it forward, bound inside 50 yet again. Riewoldt comes over the top, smack it in. It was well done by Pickett and Riewoldt. And a free kick, the Dogs.
He was lucky, Dale Morris, because I reckon it was deliberate. He got away with it, but he should thank his teammate William Pickett, because without his courageous effort, his opponent would have had another shot at goal.
I reckon you're right, Gerard.
There wasn't much in that free kick either, BT.
No. Kick wide, here's Minson. Looking to move the ball, which is good, but that kick is not good. In fact, it's touched over the line, so a let-off for the Dogs.
Well, Brendon Goddard so far has had 8 disposals and a goal, playing very well, and for the Bulldogs, Harbrow 8 disposals as well.
Well, he took the ball out of the ruck, Minson, and he was tackled immediately by Ball. Smart thinking from Ball, and that's an automatic free kick.
The ball is playing on Ryan Griffin. A man-on-man defensive setup.
Jones. Kick in the direction here of Riewoldt. Over the back. An opportunity for Stevie Milne. The inside-out handball to Geary. Soccer off the ground in the end, I think, is successful. McQualter's got it.
Look, at a very good goal, and one that was really created out of nothing. Stephen Milne turned and beat his man. They're going to Riewoldt a lot. Milne stayed down. Sort of seemed to have messed it up here. The handball was an interesting style of handball, and a scrap in the goal square. And Cooney probably, if he had his time again, would have done a little bit better there in McQualter goal. But I imagine that's what the no rush behind rule is there for, to mean that the back line have to try and create and not kick it out.
He should have been under that rule, still should have been able to take that over. He's under that much pressure. Cooney actually doesn't look, not switched on's probably the wrong way, he just doesn't look cherry ripe, and neither he should be, I guess, given that he's had so little footy.
But you talked about McQualter's running earlier, Gerard, and he's run 100 metres to get that kick, and you get rewarded as a midfielder if you get deep into the forward line to kick some goals. Mike Sheen's going to be onto this rule on the couch tomorrow night at 8:30, Gerard. He's not happy with this rule at all.
And this is Chris Donlan. I think it's his second one. The very first one of the game was recalled as well, but I'm happy for a couple not to be so good. But I think the circle does place a lot of pressure on the umpires. Now Hahn. Murphy sees Acker. Clever handball. Cooney, fast hands. Did it really well. Griffin back to Cooney, not as fast. And now the numbers at ground level for the Saints are impressive.
I reckon against any other side in the competition right now, the Bulldogs would have 6 goals.
Here we go, the Saints, they reload. Dal Santo, a very good user of the ball. Siren sounds.
Maybe with the exception of Geelong, but that was an enormous performance by the Saints defensively. They have got a lead, but the Bulldogs have thrown a fair bit at them.
3-7-25 to the Bulldogs, 1-4-10. A 15-point St Kilda lead at quarter time. Bulldogs small. They've got small players down there. They need to move a lot to get the St Kilda players out of the position where they feel comfortable.
Exactly, BT. I don't think they're creating enough space for themselves in the forward line. But the good thing about Brad Johnson, Jared, he has four shots at goal from anywhere. It can be 4 goals.
Thoughts from James Hurd and Jared Healy here at quarter time. We start the second quarter and Boyd gets the clearing kick for the Bulldogs to half forward. Cooney went hard at the ball. Hahn eventually got it out the back door. Here's Johnson battling against a couple. And now Griffin picks up cleanly. And the Hayes pouncing tackle was indicative of exactly where the Saints are this year.
It's almost decided that they're just going to do something to St Kilda players, isn't it? And that is a great tackle. Pin the arms, bring him down. There's no chance of Griffin is a strong player of getting through that tackle.
Stoppage right near the boundary line. Goddard keeps it alive and Gilby did well in the air. And the Dogs keep it at their forward end.
You already sense that if the Western Bulldogs win this game, it'll be one of their great wins because they're up against a side who's on. They know they can do something special this year, and today's the day they're going to prove it to the football community.
Gardner. Griffin. Yeah, Gardner. Griffin got him with a bit of an elbow to the face in his attempt to try and fend him off there. Brendon Goddard. Beautiful conditions inside the dome today. Of course, the roof's shut.
And this is how the game we played a lot today. There'll be a lot of highs and lows, speed, slow down, and kick to the contested contest, BT.
Did people come here expecting this to be a live wire game where the ball moved from one end to the other end of the ground quickly, or did you not expect that?
I think when you come and you look at the players on paper and the type of midfields that you've got, you probably expect it. But then the great thing about these two teams and why they've been successful is their tackling and their defensive pressure.
Riewoldt. The advantage paid to Griffin. Now Eagleton on his favoured side, and the kick wasn't great. Jones, Cooney, some really good signs there. He's got a free goal in front of him. He went the low ball to Johnson. Very unselfish. Akamanis around the corner. Brilliant play from the Dogs. Very unselfish football.
And the 3 players that you just called, Cooney, Johnson, Goddard, Akamanis. Very, very skillful players. Probably the 3 most skillful players in the Western Bulldogs lineup. And when they get their hands on the ball, those 3, they don't muck it up.
A small forward line of work if the ball comes in quickly, and on that occasion it did. St Kilda understand that if they can block it up at stoppages, they will prevent this happening, and that's why it was just great work from Eagleton. Took the punt, wasn't the best of kicks. It took the skill of Cooney to make it work.
Rowan Smith on Sam Fisher.
Yeah, boys, Sam Fisher's just come off the ground now. The last couple of minutes he's been struggling with the right shoulder, so he's gone straight underneath the grandstand, but he certainly looked like he was struggling when he ran off the ground there.
Well, that'll be a big blow for the Saints. Huge blow if he was kept out of the game for any length of time, but going down into the rooms there, you would think that would be for some sort of jab. Here is Dal Santo. Beautiful kick to Gwilt. Punch away from Lake was timely, wasn't it? Smother again from Lake. McQualter took the goal off the ground earlier in the game. Snyder to Riewoldt. And he's back.
Just Dal Santo there, the way he kicked the ball, gathered it and spun. You can see he was trying to give a handball as he spun. And this play here, the umpire's saying an unrealistic attempt to play and pushed him out, and he's probably right.
Nothing's unrealistic when it comes to Riewoldt in the air, surely. The kick wasn't great, and Farren Ray, the sliding diving mark. He's pretty happy with his efforts so far, Farren Ray. He's had the ball 7 times against his old mob.
Brilliant play there by Brian Lake.
Left his man, went to another man, and it was a great punch.
Let's have a look at the Fisher injury that Rowan Smith spoke of. He got connection to the shoulder, so it's the right, appears to be the right shoulder, and maybe AC joint. There, Jared, you're the physio amongst us, but didn't look good.
No, I reckon the AC joint. You'll get the jab, bit of jungle juice, bit of elephant juice into that.
Lake working his man Gould under the ball beautifully. Milne, who's hot. Lake fired the handball.
Riewoldt went down.
He did, and is very slow to get up.
There's a bit of entanglement with Dale Morris, and he's not happy. He's probably ended up with a corky.
Boundary throw in. St Kilda's end of the ground. Hayes was held, and he'll get a free kick. I don't think he can get the length from the kick from here, Lenny Hayes. Not a huge kick of the ball, but a good user of the ball, as we see here. Riewoldt.
Better side of the ground. He'll swing on to his right.
Plays on immediately. Everything goes to the right at this end. You must remember that. It goes left to right, every kick from that position.
Tell me why.
I don't know. It's just a characteristic of this ground. As we take a look at Riewoldt going down here, you can just see off the ball, just tripped on his ankle, did he? Looked like it just rolled the ankle ever so slightly. But it is something that's unusual. It's a characteristic of that pocket, Jared, that is for sure. I've watched it closely over the past 4 or 5 years. Here is an opportunity for Hahn now. Gets the ball on to Picken. Picken into the hot spot. Hill's got to go over the top. He does, got both hands on it. Soccer off the ground. Brilliant recovery from Josh Hill. Well done.
Well, it was a great turnaround by the Dogs. And I reckon if you wanted to give tribute to somebody, it was the big fellow Hudson in the ruck. On centre wing, he was the one who outbodied his opponent. He got the ball forward, and then Picken once again, he made a very smart decision. He kept on going long enough to get it over the top so Josh Hill could affect some sort of contest, and he was smart enough to get it to the ground. And against a very good player in Jason Blake, he has come up with a most important goal to give them a sniff.
And sometimes, Jared, you just got to kick long to a contested contest. You expect the forward to bring it to ground and make that contest. And Josh Hill, excellent. Fly for the ball, and then the recovery to kick the goal was terrific.
Any sign of Sam Fisher down there yet, Smithy?
No, BT, still underneath the grandstand as we speak.
He's a valuable player to them. There is Hayes. Goddard. A beautiful evasive move. Minson's got to get on the bike. Look at Gardner go.
Geez, he's improved, hasn't he?
He has. Graham's been a long time since we've seen him play this quality football, and Milne on the lead. Get back from the man on the mark quickly.
What will he do here, BT? Will he have a shot? Will he try and get round him?
He will definitely have a shot, whether he tries to get him in the air and take him on, I'm not sure. He is known for that. From 50 metres out, Milne with a lovely ball. Riewoldt on the line. In the end, he had to go for the mark there, Riewoldt, but could have nearly shepherded it through, but
yeah, I think the forward has to go for the mark. You can't afford not knowing what's behind you, where exactly you are in the air. You have to go for that.
The Dogs, they are up and about in this quarter, a 5-point differential with the Saints in front.
And I think Jono's just got to go and sit in the goal square. I don't think he's right. I think the illness through the week has hurt him, and his touch is not great. Sit in the goal square and try and kick your 3 or 4 limited opportunities.
Free kick to Minson. Had the Adams apple stolen there by Gardner almost. Here's Griffin in traffic to Boyd.
Running better, the Dogs.
Hands in the back, surely by Blake on Murphy. And now Blake under enormous pressure. Off hands, picked up. Hahn, very unselfish again. Murphy over the top, a part smothered by the Saints. They've got some numbers. Hahn goes in, but Baker's there. And out wide to Gwilt. The Saints have got some room here.
And unfortunate for the Bulldogs, because they are playing a lot better and right back into the game.
Yeah, it was just a missed handball from Robert Murphy. Just didn't quite get the connection right. Cost him a goal.
Here's Gwilt from the Goddard receiver. Driving ball. Advantage to Geary. Milne's there as well. Over the back it comes. Fumbled. Harbrow sees it over.
And if you had one criticism of Stephen Milne, sometimes he just thinks he's going to kick the goal before it comes.
And there's that shovel handball that just doesn't connect.
Just didn't make good contact, did he? Hardly any contact, in fact, as you say.
Just trying to get it forward quickly without paying enough attention to the technique.
So the Dogs, they're on a bit of a mini run here at the moment. The only 2 goals of the quarter. The crowd don't like the kick going to Farren Ray.
And Ross Lyons had enough. He's pushed Riewoldt wide, and he's trying to expose Harbrow, with Milne becoming the nominal full forward.
Graham, Montagna. Goes back wide to Ray.
Gardner's also pushed forward. Minson's with him.
So the Dogs defensively here doing a good job to make it difficult for St Kilda, but they're patient. Here's Dawson and Gilbert.
Coming up on them. Coming up, pushing up.
Montagna the target from Gilbert. Blake just happy to concede there.
man on man at the moment. Just one loose player, which is Higgins. So there must be one loose for St Kilda.
It's definitely not a zone, is it? It's purely man on man, as Gerard has said, as Montagna sends it in the Riewoldt direction. Milne was going a little early past the pack on that occasion, and late with a tackle. And the umpire, McBurney, says we'll ball it up.
I know Morris has allowed Riewoldt to have 4 shots at goal, but he's been pushing him very wide and making him have those shots to goal very wide. And I think it's terrific play by Morris. So he's letting Riewoldt get the ball. He's not in a dangerous position when he gets that ball.
Dogs just need a couple of steadying possessions here at the moment. Get the feeling that the Saints are going to find something as Fisher returns from the tunnel back to the bench and warming up as if he's going to come on, and he does immediately. So Gerard suggested, and Smithy, probably a bit of stuff going into the shoulder by way of injection. Higgins' kick under enormous pressure was pretty good in the end. Ackermanis, fast hands Morris. Underground handball, quite deliberate, well done. Gia to Johnson.
Great game of footy at the moment. I know the scoring's not all that efficient, but work rate is superb.
Gian Siracusa again. Murphy wants it in low and hard, but Saints have got some big numbers back. Look at that. 4 in a line in front of where Robert Murphy is. Somehow he'll find a way through, but he's competing against 4 of them. You can see them in the picture there.
And the thing that hurts you is St Kilda now can go into attack. That one kick into the forward line suddenly gets converted into attack, and Montagna's free if Milne can get over the top to him.
Those have got 4 in a line across the full back line, though. The Saints now, they're doing to St Kilda what they have been done to them.
It was brilliant defence by the Saints, and now the turnover. Picken, son of Billy. Gilby.
Good
Harbrow.
You're right, BT. They're working their way through this zone defence through the middle much better.
Eagleton. Hill's got the set on Blake. Attack the ball in the air, I say, if you're Hill. It's what you're good at. Murphy may have infringed. Milne went and got it tackled. Josh Hill showing some good tackling skills. Almost a throw to Gilbert. The intensity of this game has really lifted somewhat in the second quarter. Kazitsky to Goddard.
Nowhere to go. Has to come inside.
Back to Kazitsky. Graham forced wide. McQuarrie was the option, but now he finds Gwilt on the present-up lead. Beautiful chiselling ball. Ray into attack. Opportunity here for the run of Dal Santo. Andreas Everett surely somewhere around his back.
You're going to have a look at that again, BT. Dal Santo very unlucky. Stiff not to get a free kick. Great range from Dal Santo to sort of run 100 metres to get in a position where he could get the ball in the forward 50.
I think it was Goddard at the other end of the ground that got around Boyd that set this shot at goal up for these Saints.
This is starting to rise in temperature, the game. Picken caught the ball, stolen by Montagna. Shot across the face.
And
let's have a look at that free kick involving Nick Dal Santo. What do you think of it, boys?
Yeah, in the finish, there was a hand in the back.
Yep.
Yeah, the way they're being paid, I think there's definitely a free kick.
And boys, the Bulldogs are still letting Brendon Goddard just free, just behind the plays, up to 15 possessions so far. So just got to make sure they man up on him.
There's a way to beat the zone, is get a quick 50.
Problem, Smitty, is that if you man up on Goddard, then you leave Dal Santo free or Hayes free. I know Dal Santo's Goddard's such a great kick.
Beautiful play by Higgins then to lead up and present the space behind him for Eagleton. That was really smart thinking. Now Eagleton, a driving ball. Johnson the target. Hill's there. Hahn's 3 deep. At the feet there. Johnson keeps it alive. Intain Montagna rather viciously. Picken was there. Hahn, they're cracking in the Saints. But the Dogs, to their credit, equal to the task as Montagna come up with a slightly sore shoulder. 2 goals in the second quarter, all with the Dogs. Ackermanis. And we'll have another ball up in the attacking Western Bulldogs 50. As we see Milne on the bench and Dale Morris in the background. Well, in fact, Brad Boyd in the background. Dal Santo. The Saints very patient and methodical as they try and work the ball forward.
Well, they have to be, PT. There's just no room. Both sides are zoning back very well and making it very hard to get through that zone and get into your forward 50. With St Kilda having a lot more forward 50 entries, about 10 more than the Western Bulldogs. Just not converting with those forward entries.
Jones, who has to go back and apply pressure, and players everywhere. There's Fisher. He looks comfortable out there now after receiving some treatment. That Dawson just relieves the pressure by going backwards to Baker.
And Fisher can't be allowed to be let off the chain because he's such a damaging architect.
Now they've got them really deep in defence here, the Dogs. They're playing one-on-one. There's no zone involved. Dawson back to Baker. Kick has to be precise. It is.
There's a suggestion coming out of the Whitten Oval that BT, that the players thought that because they were playing zone defence, they weren't probably going hard enough at it in the last couple of weeks, and they're happy to be going back man on man.
Okay, well, they've certainly shown they're capable of doing that here. It's been a strong man-on-man presence. Here's Quill, high ball, and he was hiding there, Gardner. He almost run off the side of the boundary there. No one saw him.
Might have been man on man, but there's no one within 30 or 40 metres of Goddard on that occasion.
I think about 60.
60, was it? So it was one man who wasn't on his man.
And how could a man like Gardner hide? Here he is, 25 metres out. Comes in, nice fluent run up. Kick, just there, he's got it, he likes it. And Gardner gets one against the trend, I'd reckon.
Definitely against the trend, BT. When you work so hard to put the pressure on it to stop a goal like that really hurts your team. The Western Bulldogs defence has been terrific, but this goal just very poor manning up. I mean, the kick was in the air for, what, 5 or 6 seconds. You shouldn't be allowed that space in your forward line.
I think he must have snuck off the bench or on a crossover or a interchange.
He definitely comes sneaking from the
he was in row
boundary line
4C.
area. I reckon he was sitting down with the trainers or the photographers. Michael Dodge from the Herald Sun's down there. I reckon he might have been sitting with Dodgy.
And no one was really that keen to go on to him after he kicked the goal either. Brian Lake eventually trotted over to him, but it was
Rodney Edge
wasn't me. It wasn't me.
He's having a good look around saying, where did he come from? There's Jones. Geary. Got the hands free and is then able to release the handball even though tackled. Riewoldt and Morris.
This is their chance now, the Bulldogs. They have to rebound hard. When they get a turnover.
Now they ran this ball against Hawthorn's brilliant zone last year through the middle, but they haven't done it so well here. But they did it brilliantly last year as Ray finds Gardner again, so Gardner's caught them off guard up there.
There's a lot of talk about kicking efficiency, Hurdy.
Yep.
But I reckon the Bulldogs' handball efficiency has been poor. Now, there's a handball there that went to the feet of Hudson. That's why they had a turnover. There's a handball at the other end. Murphy cost them a goal earlier in this quarter. And it's so important that handballs hit targets now that that needs a little bit more of attention. Michael
Gardner for his second, not successful this time, and Everett happy to push the ball through. So 7 minutes remain in the first half of footy.
Well, there's a shot for a goal from a turnover, Jared, and you're right. Handball is such an important part of the game. It has to be precise and fast to get through the zone. A lot of sides, the handballs have gone up and trying to work it down the ground through the zone. And if you can't hit the target, it's an immediate turnover.
Hill.
Kick.
Was a nice kick. Addison. Don't know about that. Johnson. Sneaky handball. Griffin. Good penetrating run and a nice kick to Murphy. Murphy plays on immediately. Leaves Dawson on the ground. The kick to Minson. Got to attack it, and he does. Strong hands. And 50. Certain goal for Minson.
And that's what the Bulldogs haven't been able to do all game. Take it through down the ground without St.Kilda touching the ball. The Johnson handball, the Griffin run and turn was great. The last kick into Minson was also excellent. And now Will Minson lines up for an easy goal.
Minson to sneak one back for the Dogs. It's a simple task. And there it is.
Yeah, and that shows the strength of the Western Bulldogs. When they get the ball and when they can run, they can cut you apart. No matter how good your defence is, if you give guys like Johnson and Griffin a bit of space, Griffin here, the run, and then the perfect disposal. Terrific into Murphy, and Murphy's another player with class and skill. And this is a kick, beautifully weighted kick to Minson, and Minson a strong mark amongst two St.Kilda players. That's what he's got to do more of. It's his second strong mark this game, and for the Bulldogs to win, Minson has to do that another 5 or 6 times and kick 3 or 4 goals today.
Strong extended arms from Minson. Good play, aggressive attack of the ball in the air. And now back to the middle of the ground. An 8-point lead with St.Kilda. 3 goal to 1 quarter it's been for the Dogs. been quite profitable for them.
You've got to love both these sides, how hard they are in the middle and how they really get in and try and win that contested ball. Both sides pride themselves on winning their contested situations, centre of the ground, and delivering it into their forward line.
If they 1 and 2 in the contested ball in the comp, they'd be pretty close to it, wouldn't they?
Don't ask a question you don't know the answer to, BT.
Right, Gian Siracusa sitting next to Gerard Healy and James Hird. You would have thought one of them might have been able to get on top of that.
I think we gave that job to Gerard on Thursday this week.
Montagna wide. Saints got some space. Gardner really starting to pose some problems at the moment for the Bulldogs. Took a running bounce on the wing. That's how good he's going. Long ball. Riewoldt in front. Everest from 3 deep. Knocked it to Graham. Picked it up. 45 high ball. Is it there? Just offline. And Cosy says, what about me in the square?
I'm still trying to work out the magnetic force that is dragging those balls from left to right at the Rowan Smith end of the ground.
Yes, well, I'm not sure why that happens, Gerard, but I'm going to work on a theory by the end of the game for you. There's Hill. It was Montagna v Tackler.
There's actually some entrances at the goal end. There was a theory 3 or 4 years ago. There was a little bit of breeze that used to push the ball out from the goals, but I think that's stretching it a little bit far. But
it's going to go with that. I've heard that before. I'm thinking that the ground is not quite level. They didn't level it up when they built this $460 million state-of-the-art stadium. Yeah, it is something that does happen though. In this pocket here, it looks reasonably level from that position, but it swings left to right from the way we look at it there. His cross. We'll get some more examples today and you'll see what I mean.
We'll get a surveyor out tomorrow and on the couch we'll have the exact measurements and height of this ground.
Umpire Troy Pinnell. Hayes.
There's a lot of third man up today, just trying to clear the congestion of the ball ups and the contests. And look, it's a great ploy. But if you see a third man going up, you shouldn't allow him up into that ruck contest.
Acker free.
I think the Dogs would be very happy for the siren to blow right now for half time at where they're at in this game in terms of what they've done in this second quarter.
Gerard, Acker is free around the contest because Sam Fisher's just sitting behind the play. So yes. Acker just making another number up there. Maybe should just get off the contest a little bit more.
Yeah, he gets lost in there, doesn't he, Smithy? No point being there, I guess. Here is Cooney. Addison. I wonder if a bit long. Cross going to the ground in one action, got the handball off. Higgins, desperation by Baker was great because the Dogs would have been out of the loop.
Well, that's why we've got the Rowan Smith in, BT, because he does know his game, Rowan Smith. He's exactly right with Acker. If he's going to be free, he needs to make himself dangerous and get more of the ball.
Murphy just coming back now to play that role, and that's where the ball goes. Needs a good bounce, Murphy, and he's got it. Look at the runners he's got forward of the ball. Griffin wants it. Ignored him. Centering ball to a small man in Eagleton. I'm not sure about the decision there.
Dangerous turnover spot. Yeah.
Well, here's Lake. Acker tries to soccer the ball through a bit of traffic. Fisher did well. Here go the Dogs. Boyd, the sidestep 1-2. The handball over the top. Picked up here by the Dogs. Snapshot of goal was missed by Hargrave in the end.
They manufactured a shot for goal there in a situation, but Robert Murphy, normally a great decision maker, should have given the ball to Griffin. He could have run within 40 metres on his right foot. That would have been an easy shot for goal for him.
Yep. Another one created by just the desperation of Hudson. Got a hand in, got the turnover going.
Which are the top possession winners? The top 4 or 5 possession winners are all
defenders.
St Kilda though. Goddard 16, Ray 14, Dal Santo 13, Zach Dawson 12. Harbrow with 10 is the highest for the Western Bulldogs.
There's Riewoldt, clean to Ray. This is good for the Saints. Picked up by Eddie. The smother by Boyd was good, but it's still a 3-on-1 St Kilda's way here. Doing it hard as Pickin. Held it up for the troops to ride, but they weren't exactly sprinting in. Now the ball into the spot, and Riewoldt.
And in the end, it was a good kick. He had a couple of players. He had Ray and Dal Santo free on forward 50, and initially I thought it was a wrong decision, but kicking the ball 30 metres out to Nick Riewoldt ended up being a good kick.
Now, this is going to be a very, very interesting because he's moved all of his kicks from right to left. We'll get a shot from behind the goals on this one just to give that theory a test, BT, and I'm sure it's going to go left to right.
It's not so much deep in this pocket here, but that's a lovely kick. He's kicked 1 goal 3 now, Jared. It's more out to the left. And Riewoldt would be relieved.
What they had there, BT, is they had space. They had space 80 metres out from goal, St.Kilda, and they moved the ball around. It wasn't pretty when they had the ball. But so far in this game, the Bulldogs have been very good at clogging up the space around the square, the centre square, and not letting St Kilda come through. Rodney Eade going berserk, not happy with the space. I would imagine that St Kilda was allowed them through the corridor and that Riewoldt was allowed to work into.
Well, here it was. They got an opportunity because Eddie's kick was initially smothered, but it was a pretty fair second effort from Eddie, and a great conversion that time from Nick Riewoldt. And, well, that says it all, Nick. He was really relieved to get that one through.
So back out to 14 points. It was 15 points at quarter time, so all the good work by the Dogs has just about gone for nothing. Here is Gian Siracusa, cross, one of the fittest players on the Dogs list. The St.Kilda, some numbers for the Dogs, and an opportunity for Boyd to try and get it out. He did well in the end. Fisher was tackled and dragged to the ground. Umpire gave him plenty of time to feed the handball off, even though he was tackled to the ground.
Jeez, he's a tackling machine, is Picken.
Yeah. Look at that.
It was a great tackle by Picken, but it's one area that the Western Bulldogs are not winning. St Kilda, 37 tackles, the Western Bulldogs 23. They need to pick up their tackle count and follow Picken's example with a fantastic tackle on Dal Santo there.
Some of the fans get emotionally involved. As we see there, Schneider, a running bounce. Riewoldt presents up, Morris wearing in, but too good in the air, Riewoldt.
That was a great kick and a brilliant mark as well. Didn't have much opportunity there, did the undersized Dale Morris.
This is going to go from left to right, BT.
This is down. There's no wind. This is the magnetic forces, as you say. This is the left to right kick for sure from Riewoldt. He didn't really strike it very well, and it hung its line pretty well, but back into play here for the Dogs. All clear, says the umpire. Gee, that didn't look like it got anywhere near the line.
It's good thinking by Goddard, even though it did go the line, thinking to try and keep it in, and shows he's concentrating for every minute of the game.
Just under 2 minutes in the first half remaining. 15-point St Kilda lead.
Well, you mentioned possessions, and they don't tell the whole story, but Gilby's had 4, Murphy's had 5, Cooney's had 6, Higgins has had just 7, Eagleton's had just 7. They've got a lot of upside, the Bulldogs, if they can get some footy into the hands of their good decision makers and good disposal experts.
Addison being penalised for pulling it in and not spitting it out. Here's Eddie. The Saints looking to get one before the half-time break. Farren Ray against Boyd. They were competing for positions in this team last year. Picked up by Gilbert. Strokes a long ball forward. Riewoldt's there. The back they go. Lake with the punch down. Knocked it down. Snap it. Goal! Got it, Snyder.
And they've grabbed the ascendancy back, St Kilda. Terrific crumbing by Schneider. That's what happens when you put a long ball in and you've got a guy like Riewoldt who can bring the ball to the ground. Grilt went up, brought the ball to the ground, and Schneider, you know, that's what he's there for. He's there to crumb off the big guys, and it was a terrific goal.
I reckon they were let down here, the Brian Lake in particular, because he competed, he got it to ground, but you just saw Schneider with just too much space and too many people ball watching for the Western Bulldogs, not covering off on their man. I mean, a little crumbing forward, you have to be inside the back of his jumper, because that's the bread and butter for him.
Adam Schneider with his first goal of the game.
And for a while there, the Bulldogs had the ascendancy, but you'd have to be happy that St Kilda supporter will play up by 21 points after the Bulldogs have had probably the better of 3 quarters of this quarter.
Great shot of the St Kilda forward line and the way it was structured straight down the middle there. As Johnson finds Minson. Just under a minute remaining. The kick is good to Murphy. He's got a quick turn, hasn't he?
Plays on at any opportunity, Brian.
A great step. A high ball. There's some smalls there. Hill goes up, but in front was Ray.
Well, they're just getting slaughtered when the ball's in the air. We saw Will Minson get the ball on the wing, which looked to be an advantage, but the problem was his man Kaczynski ran straight to the goal square and blocked it off at the pass.
No sign of any runners out there, so I'm not sure the Dogs are aware of how many seconds there are left, but there's enough time for St Kilda to move the ball fluently, especially if Riewoldt marks this. He does. Chip around the corner to Gwilt. Got to be strong overhead. He is. It's all falling into place for the Saints late in this second quarter. They've kicked the last 2 goals, 3 of the last 4, and now Snyder's got it right on 50. 10 seconds remaining. I'm surprised no runner has got out there in the last minute to let them know. That really surprised me, but Riewoldt's going to mark it on the siren. He's marked the ball on the half-time siren and will get a shot for goal from an impossible angle. Can't play on. Surely this one's a right foot banana.
This has to be the banana.
He's deciding right at the moment, I reckon. Yeah, he held it like a banana momentarily.
Yep.
And he is going the banana. Here is Riewoldt, and that one is pretty damn good. That is a brilliant kick from Riewoldt to finish the half. And St Kilda lead it by 27 points at the Dome. Remarkable kick from a remarkable player there in Nick Riewoldt. The crowd are happy, the Saints fans love it. 7-14-56 to the Dogs, 4-5-29.
The pace at the moment, Daniel Cross is their number 1 with 11. Griffin's got 11. You know, that's a good quarter for a player in today's...
Gary Ablett had that in the first 5 minutes last week against the Brisbane.
Yeah, and he was going in third gear.
Start of the third quarter now underway. Gardner was involved there. A clear winner as Cooney got a little kick sideways. Hargrave kick forward. Blake's in a good position, didn't attack the ball in the air. Dawson happy to just ease it out of defence, and G and Syracuse are free.
And for the game to be a contest, you'd expect the Western Bulldogs to come out firing. Rocket looked very unhappy in the box at half-time, and you'd think he's given a fair rocket to his players.
Here comes Hill. Up over the top, couldn't hold the mark. Hahn. Beautiful smother in the end by Fisher, who got it in mid-flight. Gardner. Important now with the absence of King. It was a beautiful tackle by Lindsay Gilby on the quarter, pinning one arm. He could do nothing but drop the ball and look at the kick. A beautiful kick. Finds Andreas Everett. Thought about the short one to Minson, went longer and deeper to Hill. Got the break on his man, and a nice mark taken by Josh Hill.
Terrific kick, terrific kick. What he's done is he's ignored the first 2 leads and looked over the top of the contest to Hill, who was leading out of the goal square. Great kick and gave his teammate every opportunity, and a great mark by Hill.
Not sure it's a great matchup, Stephen Baker, and there it is, half a chicken wing. Just enough to affect the spoil and get it.
A nice chicken wing as Hill comes in for his second goal of the game, and he's got it. Just what the Dogs ordered.
And it's what they ordered and what they needed, BT. Score back to 21 points. They need to kick the next one and bring it back, and then slowly work their way and grind their way into the game. But interesting to see was Gilby's tackle down here on the half-forward flank. His kick over to Everett, and then Everett just took his time and a beautifully weighted pass to Hill.
Well, there you see the long arms of Stephen Hill. Stephen Baker, if you had the opportunity, you'd be trying to get it to the Hill-Baker matchup. Put it up in the air, because he plays a lot taller than Stephen Baker can defend.
He does indeed. Josh Hill with 2 goals today. 2-1 in fact. He's played most of the game forward and quite deep. Although he comes up to centre-half forward now. There's a look at the Dogs' forward line.
And I think it's interesting, BT. Clearly, Rodney Uda said, stay back, give us some options to go long too. We want some numbers down there.
Yep. Boyd out of the middle. The clearance touched. You heard the umpire say so. Baker forced to move the ball quickly. Harbrow really took a good body position then, but didn't have enough help as Milne's handball out of the barrel. Got it to Graham. Graham over the top. Opportunity for Snyder to run into the open goal, and the answer was immediate and swift.
Great play by Graham, and just great sight, great vision out, lateral vision. I mean, not many people would have seen Snyder there on the right-hand side and just flick the handball in traffic.
Just have a look at the head clash there. Just a couple of ruckmen not locking horns, and not all that happy Michael Gardner. Andres Everett will look at the tape and just know he's got to get a little bit more fierce just here. Just had to body him and get him out of the contest, not run beside him, because too smart, got the hands away. Had to just to get a leg in front of him, bump him to the ground and get him out of the area.
Graham, great running out of the centre square. He's run 150 metres from the centre circle right down to get the ball in the goal square, and handball to Snyder. Great play.
Snyder's got a couple. This time Hudson all over Gardner in the middle.
And that's what St Kilda based their game plan on. If they don't win the ball, they tackle and they annoy, and Griffin getting very annoyed at Jones there.
McBurney throwing the ball up really quickly to just quell that little fire, little spot fire that was erupting there. Here's Harbrow.
Great kick.
It was. Chiseling ball. Cooney can run. Got two in pursuit. Left foot kick. He ran himself into a bit of trouble, then ran himself out of options, in fact, by taking that bounce. And now Minson and Hahn. Look at that. Somehow Higgins came out with the ball. Somehow he did it.
And we've gone from a very defensive game, BT, to suddenly 3 goals kicked in the first couple of minutes, or the first 4 minutes of this game. And let's just hope that this is the style of play that goes, and the Western Bulldogs have a crack and just try and kick those goals very quickly.
Well, they look so much more dangerous now, the Bulldogs. They haven't got the superstar forward, but they've got some numbers down there, and they've pushed Hill up the ground, and that kick there from Harbrow was an absolute beauty. I think they were all a bit flummoxed by how bad that kick was. You just saw Brendon Goddard think, hang on, it's come through to me. He made a little fumble. And then the Bulldogs just worked really well. Higgins snuffled it out the back.
Well, it's forward pressure. It's not pretty. It's not putting the ball on the forward's chest. When the ball's on the ground, the team that fights the hardest to win it can create goals for themselves.
Well, St Kilda wouldn't want this to become a bit of a goal fest here in the third quarter, because that would work against them, you would think. Here is Cooney out of the middle. They like to control the scoring of the opposition. Goddard. Now Gilbert. Around the corner, controlled kick to McWalter.
Well, Rodney need to be filthy on that. Gene Syracuse are beaten for pace and beaten for smarts.
Farren Ray with a nice kick. Did well Harbrow, but overcommitted. Allowed Milne to go back and get the ball to Graham. He's a good kick. Bounces inside 50. 2 goals apiece in 5 minutes in the third quarter.
Yeah, and Graham on fire to start this first quarter. Terrific finish. We know he's a good kick. He's missed a couple so far this year, but today he's running in the early part of the third quarter has been the highlight of his game, and terrific finish. But what's happened is the Western Bulldogs have gone a bit more attacking, and it's opened the game up, which is great for the visual contest. And we'll see the skills of these two sides come out if this game opens up as it is.
4 goals in 5 minutes, a blistering start here from both sides. And instrumental in that, Brendon Goddard, Jared.
I thought he was really good. The ball was coming in at a rapid rate of knots. It was speared into June Syracuse. He reacted the best, though, and it was him laying the ball off and winning that one-on-one battle that created the goal.
Who is going to win this attacking period of play? It's 2 goals apiece in the third quarter here. Snyder. Opportunity for Griffin in low and hard, and Hudson was there as well, tried to get up and take the ball with him.
And boys, you can just see there at the centre square, Cooney and Griffin have been injected into the midfield for the Bulldogs, and Jones is running with Cooney, so an interesting centre square man with him, and then Graham is just going to have a shootout with Griffin at the moment.
Lenny Hayes up, third man in the contest. They often do that, the Saints, in the stoppages around the ground, and Brad Johnson's hurt his left ankle or foot. See him in the foreground holding it there.
Well, Smitty, I think Boyd's been given the job back onto Graham. He's sticking pretty close, realised what a dangerous player he can be if he's let loose, and trying to knuckle down on at these contests.
Round 18, Brad Johnson will break the game's record for games played at the Western Bulldogs. Chris Grant's record if he plays every game between now and then. And past Scott West in second position today.
And Hurdy, you can just see that Graham is still trying to run with Griffin, so I'm just going to keep an eye on those matchups at the moment. It's a bit of a merry-go-round going on at the moment.
Definitely.
Really good battle in the middle too, in the ruck between Hudson and Gardner. Both are having plenty of effect on the game.
Boyd and Gilbert, nice. Some aerial supremacy for him. Twilight football on Fox. Good crowd into the dome. There's Goddard. Elects to go up the middle to Snyder, who's a very crafty player. Riewoldt outmanoeuvred brilliantly by Lake. And now Boyd can go short to Johnson, but went further down to Cooney, who was slightly out of position as Jones edged him off the ball. Handball intercepted. Griffin now. Deliberate kick along the ground to Hill. Needs good hands. Had him too.
Knock on.
Fast handball. Minson can go over the back. Just didn't quite realise what was going on behind him. Now Blake. Graham. Gilbert, short ball. Here go the Saints through the middle of the ground. Farren Ray drawing handball over the top. They're out of the loop. McQuilter. A little bit of a pirouette. Goes back to Ray. Ray just sending the ball sideways. Now Milne. Delivery back in the middle is good to the Baker. Paddles the ball in front to Jones. Here's Dal Santo. Often shrugs the tackle. Grand going nowhere now, the Saints. And a free kick will go St. Kilda's way. Lucky.
Disappointing for the Bulldogs there because they put great pressure on to try and win the ball back in the centre of the ground and could have caused a turnover, but a free kick has put St Kilda back into attack.
And Nick Riewoldt, the new opponent, Smithy.
Yeah, Brian Lake's been moved on to him, Jared.
Saints by 27 point. Well, Riewoldt just beat 3 of them. 3 Bulldogs went to the ground. Riewoldt stood up, delivered a kick across the face, and a free kick will go the way of the Dogs. Or will it go to the... Yes, it will go to the Dogs.
Yeah, push out against Kazitsky.
Cooney hurt, Smitty.
Yeah, he's coming off. Wasn't too sure what happened there.
Just got a knee in the head, Smitty, from
Close
his ruckman.
quarters.
He's just running past me now. He looks okay. He's probably a little bit dazed. Probably just have a little bit of a rest.
Short ball. Not a lot of sympathy coming from Smithy. As Johnson centres the ball.
Brendon tough for the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, Farren Ray is having a big game against his old team.
He is indeed. A leading possession getter on the ground, in fact, with 21. There's Jones to Ray. Around the corner, Dal Santo, sneaky ball. Higgins. Dogs get to the centre of the ground, and then it's a bit of a battle for them. Johnson ran into the brick wall that is Geary. Eddie, handball wide. Ball got a bad bounce. Still able to see his way through, smothered off the boot. Acker was there. Geary goes in again.
They're just holding on here, the Bulldogs. They are just holding on.
The last rights. Almost. Goddard. Kick forward and Riewoldt marks well within range, and this is a better angle and a better look for him.
I think they're working really hard, Smithy, but the Saints are just doing it a lot better.
But you can just see, Jared, with all the effort that the Bulldogs have made and all the pressure they've put on this quarter, St Kilda go forward. Nick Riewoldt takes a terrific mark.
With all that effort, they've gone nowhere so far. It's still a 27-point ball game as it was at half-time, so used a lot of energy, as you say, Smithy, for no result. As Riewoldt comes in and hammers that one home. Riewoldt's got his second goal. And the Saints in control at the moment, lead by a game-high 33 points.
Third goal, to Nick Riewoldt, and you see the value of having Goddard and guys of skill who can deliver the ball. Terrific contested mark by Riewoldt. I don't know, it was a bit early, Jared, to go with a new man on Riewoldt. I thought Morris was doing an okay job, and I think Lake is, Lake's a terrific player, but to take Morris off him so early was an interesting decision.
Yeah, just trying to pick up where Morris has been transported to, Smithy. I know you'll be able to help us out with that, but he's also got a defensive role.
Yeah, sorry, Jared. He's been moved on to Grilled at the moment. So, yeah, I'm with you, Hurdy. I can't understand that one, but the trainers are just running out to Brian Lake as we speak, so I'll just keep an eye on that one as well.
BT, we just saw Nick Riewoldt kick a magnificent goal.
Yep.
It's the angle that seems to throw him out. And I know that he'll be fronting up to the Brian Taylor School of goal kicking shorter because he's only an angle scenario. It's confusing him somewhat.
Yeah, it appears to be. I don't know whether he's allowing for a drift in his ball that's not actually there, because he does kick it reasonably straight.
After last week, BT, that school would be full, wouldn't it?
Well, the school hasn't actually opened for bookings yet. It's all down to the pupils. Not going to take any hacks. There is Higgins. A fair way out from beyond the 50 would take a very nice stroke of the ball. Higgins comes in, kick on the way, and he's missed it poorly to the left.
Isn't this score?
And a minor score in the end. Saints attack quickly out the other side of the ground. Ball was there. There's Hayes. Steady and poised as he tries to kick the ball to the Hawkins wing, and that one's over the line out of bounds.
Good to see Luke Ball playing some really good footy too, because he's had his struggles, he's had his problems with the body, and right now he looks as if he is rapidly improving and getting back to the player that we thought he'd be.
You'd never think he was a sprinter at school at Xavier College, would you?
Dog by arthritis pubis.
Taken so much sting out of his legs, and now more of an endurance type player rather than the sprinter that he was.
St Kilda squeeze the life out of a team, don't they? They just don't let you get the ball and get enough ball in your hands. 3-on-1 there, a terrific mark by Goddard. He's improved out of sight, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's having a fantastic year.
You wonder when their next loss is going to come if they win this one day at the Saints. They play Collingwood next week here at the Dome, then Essendon, Brisbane, Melbourne, North, Carlton, Richmond. Can't see one coming for a long time if they can get over this one. And the Pies next week, they are very, very strong. Montagna. Our side, though, renowned historically to get a little bit carried away when they're going nicely.
I don't think the coach is that sort of coach, though.
No.
Ryan, he's a very, he prides himself and his team on the defensive nature, and that would stop them getting ahead of themselves.
Indeed. That's Morris. Missing a simple one. Andreas Everett with a real risky kick. A bit of a battle here for the Dogs. That's a throw. And the umpire's picked it up, and that's going to be a St Kilda free against Cross.
The Bulldogs need a spark. They seem to have just gone a bit flat and a little bit resigned to the fact that they're going to lose this game. I'm not sure that was a throw. He seemed like he got his hand well and truly to it.
Yeah, he handballed it.
But if they keep resigning themselves to this performance that they're going through at the moment, they'll get beaten by could get beaten by 10 goals. They need to decide that they're going to have a crack at this game and try and pull themselves back into it.
It was so quick and soft, that handball, that the umpire didn't pick it up, and I think Cross is right. I think he did make contact with it. Difficult one, but don't call it if you're not sure. Wilt gets a goal as the direct result, and the Saints now out to 38-point leaders.
I think you're right, BT. You can't afford to get that wrong. I think you've got to give the player the benefit of the doubt and not be so red hot on him, and I can't see how you see that as being a throw.
They're so good at that these days, the players. They practice a lot of that in close, almost a throw-type handball, but they make contact with it.
Contact, yeah. I think a disappointing decision by the umpire really just nails another, or hammers another nail in the coffin for the Bulldogs in this game. They've got something to play for now, Gerard. I think the Bulldogs, their pride after 2 losses, and this will be a 3rd in a row.
Well, they're getting a lesson at the present time, and I don't think it's due to work rate. I think it's simply that St Kilda are just playing fantastic footy at the present time, playing it a little bit more cleanly and a little bit more sustained.
There's Acker. McQualter. Ball in there as well. Griffin tried to bullock his way through, and 3 St Kilda players lined him up and sent him backwards. It was Addison, in fact.
What they've been able to do, St Kilda, is stop guys like Cooney, Ackermanis, Murphy and Johnson. They're skillful players getting their hands on the ball. Those guys all with less than 10 possessions halfway through the 3rd quarter. Eagleton as well.
Cross. Able to pick the ball up and plenty of time to nurture it to Ackermanis. Little chip ball, nicely handled by Murphy. A low ball, not what he would want at this stage of his recovery.
With a handball. Handball behind. It had to be in front.
Did Harbrow now got to beat a couple. Did that, but had no time to dispose of the ball the way he would have liked. And in the end, the Dogs, deliberate underground handball from Minson to Gian Siracusa. Good high ball, but off to the left-hand side. And a 37-point St Kilda lead now.
We'll keep coming back to it, Gerard, but when you're under pressure and you don't have the time to pinpoint a pass into a forward line that's got no space, the forward line isn't creating space, you need to be able to put it 30 metres out to a guy who can either mark it or make a contest. It's just not happening for the Western Bulldogs at the moment.
Goddard.
That's a good kick.
If the Saints move this ball quickly, boys, a bit of a mismatch with Lindsay Gilby on Kaczynski behind the play here at the moment.
Short ball to Eddie.
It's not a bad punt, though, I think, for Rodney Eade to take, because, yes, it's a mismatch in the air, but it's also a mismatch in their favour if Gilby gets up and going.
Here it comes now in the Gilby direction. Goddard will go over that contest to the next one. Gardner the target. The head got both hands on it. Good strong contest. Here's McQualter to the run of Geary. And a smothering attempt by Acker forces the turnover to Gian Siracusa. Now on the rebound, the kick is poor by Gian Siracusa. McQualter's there. Geary, Baker, all fast hands. Eddie recovered his own ball. Baker in enormously heavy traffic. Kick out wide. Gardner beat late to the ball. Did well at ground level. He's got no troops helping him, Gardner. He did well to hold him up, and now Jones comes in and gives the assist. There's the drawing handball by Geary out the ball. got an absolute plenty of room and time and hit Cozzy right on the right side of the body.
Tell you what, you'd love a pass like that every day of the week. That was a beautiful pass by Luke Ball, straight into Koziski's chest, and St Kilda four-liners had space pretty much all day. When you've got players like Koziski and Riewoldt down forward, you've got every incentive to move as quickly as possible.
Justin Koziski back into the side today. Hasn't kicked one today. From just outside 50, a lovely looking ball. Look at that touch right on the line.
And that's why they're all lining up. He is a graduate of BT's School of Goal Kicking. Hurdy, if St Kilda were to play Geelong next week, who would you tip?
You'd have to go for the Cats, but I reckon it'd be pretty close.
Well, that game we're not going to see until round 14. St Kilda and the Cats.
Scheduled for Etihad Stadium, I believe.
I think it is, Jared. Yes, it is here at the Dome. So
you reckon you wouldn't get another 30 at the MCG?
Yeah, you would. Here is Murphy around the corner. Missed. Absolutely you would, but it seems the AFL policy used to be best fit scenario for games, and that's what they told everyone when it suited them, and now it doesn't appear that's the case. It appears once they're locked into a stadium that they are not prepared to change.
No, I think the best fit policy is only used when it's best fit.
Yes, exactly. So here go the Saints again. They reload. 37 points up they are. And we've got 6.5 remaining in the third quarter. Been a bit of a disappointment here for the Bulldogs.
Well, there's two fellows that really have improved their game, Jones and Gilbert. Gilbert's been coming for a couple of years. Jones, though, has turned himself into a top-line run-with player.
The Dogs have found it so hard from this position on the ground to get it past the half-forward line with any sort of fluency, and Acker is mauled by a couple of Saints. Oh, Jones got a bit of a butt to the scone there.
Farren Ray boys playing against his old side, picked up 23 possessions so far in the game. A terrific effort to come up. It's always hard when you play your own side. You've been traded away from the side you started with. Great effort to come up and produce against his old teammates.
Accidental, I might add. Here they go, the Saints again. This time Gilby got a nice double-fisted punch away and got the 1-2 give and go as well, and looking for the 1-2-3 give and go. And Gilby some nice workers. Boyd was able to work the ball out wide, but a poor kick finds Blake.
The difference between the St Kilda forward line and the Western Bulldogs forward line is St Kilda are able to dictate the play at both ends of the ground. They're keeping their back six. They're making the Footscray players, or Western Bulldogs players, work in positions they don't want to work. But when they go forward, St Kilda, they're going into an open forward line that's dictated by Riewoldt, Koziski and their setups, and creating space for them to lead into.
Here's Fisher looking to nurse it to Riewoldt. Addison in front, ball to the ground. Snyder into Riewoldt. Riewoldt, a free shot if he wants, and he's stumped it to the left. The impressive thing about this Saints is that while they've got maintained their playing list, they've been able to bring in players like Geary and Eddie and Jones and even Dawson to a certain degree to make them better, haven't they?
Yeah, they're bottom six, I suppose, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Better than their bottom six were probably 2 or 3 years ago. They've improved that bottom six, whether it be through guys of the rookie list or guys like Farren, Ray or Graham that have come from other clubs and made them a better side.
Precisely what I was trying to say. Johnson able to pick it up and run. The looping handball to Ryan Griffin, who'll send it to a contest. Hill 1-on-2 and Farren Ray gets back, drop the mark. Minson runs into an open goal.
And a fortuitous goal by Minson. Probably should have been contesting that mark rather than roving it. Ray would be disappointed he didn't take the mark. It's probably the first mistake he's made all day. He should have taken the mark, but you know that's the benefit of sometimes just putting it into the 30 metres out. There's no other option. Bring it down and creating a contest. Will Minson,
Sport by his own man.
I think Farren Ray may have had an excuse here, Eddie. He got poleaxed by Fisher.
I'll tell you what, in the grand final, 30-minute mark, you'd want to take that mark, wouldn't you?
The good thing about it, though, boys, when Farren Ray did drop the mark and Wilmington kicked the goal, all the Saints players went over to him and just patted him on the back, said, yep, don't worry about it, let's move on.
What do you reckon Leo Barry's thinking when he went for that mark? Can have that excuse?
No, I think your point's well made.
Going to the absolute extremities, James Hird to be one up on us. He did it nicely. There's an opportunity for the Dogs to attack again.
Good hands.
It was by Hal Balajian, Syracuse Paul kick.
He's having a bit shocker today.
Ball just off the bench, finds Brand. Got some clean room out wide to run, and there's a free kick off the ball. It'll go to Montagna, and it will be an off-the-ball free kick played against, in fact it's not, it's against Picken, but the umpire's reversed his decision now. He initially said free kick to St Kilda, and now he's giving it to Picken. And now the ball, because of the advantage, so the umpire's confusing everybody there.
40,000 people,
Over something.
36 players, all confused.
Hello, he's an up and under if you've ever seen one.
Didn't matter really. Eddie. Poor kick, wasn't it? Kick wide. Cross. Held his ground, but Montagna aware of what he was going to do.
Well done, Cross.
And he did well to battle it out. Eagleton, Everett, Morris and Cross all combining with handball. Cross didn't really want it back. Hudson's in trouble. He knew what to do with it, but he couldn't get his body to do it.
Yeah, the umpire was very, very lenient there. Maybe he applied the Ruckman rule.
He did. You can see. Yes,
Yeah,
I've got
confused.
it. Yes, I need to handball it, but hang on, it's got to register first.
He was trying, BT, he just didn't work.
The idea was right.
Oh, toe danger.
High tackle, and that'll be a McQualter free.
They're in danger, Jared, of this being a real blowout. It's already 32 points.
Yeah, you can see a 10-goal flogging coming here, and it'll do well, the Dogs, if they can just get themselves back organised and get more competitive. Because if the work rate drops off, they could really get a belt.
McQualter for his second goal of the game. Directly in front of the Coventry southern end of this dome. A really good look at it from here. And he's missed.
Well, that's another one for the school, BT. You really shouldn't miss them there, should you? 30 metres out, straight in front. You've got to kick those goals.
Shouldn't, but you do. Goal umpire, he's a rather impressive, well-built goal umpire, isn't he? In the weights room. Montagna. Fisher. And now Blake as St Kilda search a way forward again. They find Eddie. These young players we're talking about. And Cozzy's going to come in the pocket, and that's where he goes. He centred him up with the ball as well because Cozzy was going wider, and Eddie made him come back into the corridor a little. It was a nice kick. Good grab.
He's had mismatches pretty much all this quarter. He took that mark against Picken, and Picken had no chance against a guy who's probably 6 inches taller than him and a lot heavier, and that's where St Kilda have the advantage. They've got two very, very good tall targets, and they're hard to match up with.
Distance won't worry this man at all. He had one on target from 52 before, and he's a lovely kick. In he comes. This one on the way is beautiful. Look at that. Just a little bit of right to left curl. And that is just a lovely nurtured kick.
So you asked the question, Jared, if Geelong will play St Kilda. You asked the question, you have a different opinion. You think St Kilda would take it to Geelong at this stage of the year?
I think they're playing as good a footy as Geelong at the moment. Yep. I'm not sure if they'd win, but I reckon if you had to set a market, it'd be very much even money.
Well, what would be interesting is to see how Geelong would work through St Kilda's defensive pressure. They've set their game, they're kicking goals now, they're more exciting, but their game is still based on that defensive pressure. Geelong are very good at working it through that defensive pressure. We saw last year in the grand final how Hawthorn closed them down. This would be another interesting example of the handball and the excessive handball that Geelong have, whether St Kilda could shut that down, turn the ball over and then go into their forward line.
It's only, what would it be, 5 years ago when Geelong were half a step behind St Kilda. St Kilda's midfield was more rated than Geelong's midfield, which is unbelievable now where you consider Ablett and Bartel are in their respective careers. Ling's been a star as well.
Umpire Troy Pennell just having a little bit of a wry grin to himself about that bounce being recalled. They've copped a little bit of stick from a couple of the players there, I think. Goddard, look at that.
He's
through traffic. Even the karate stop by Cooney wasn't good enough. Jones and Montagna. Fisher. Movement great. Kick very nice indeed, and now Geary. Transfer to the corridor is now complete, and Lenny Hayes will dish to Goddard. Beautiful kick around the corner, controlled to Ray.
Got a quick Goddard on the way through too.
Riewoldt trying to almost clear a path for Cozzy on that occasion. Now Snyder thought Cozzy was just behind him. He'll handball to Everett. Everett just goes backwards slightly and across the ground and finds a loose man in Cross. Cross with a little chipping kick to Pickin. Played every game since being included for the first time. It's the 5th game in a row, Pickin. There is Higgins wearing the famous number 7, worn by Scotty West for so many years.
Free kick to Johnson, had to be.
Off the ball, it wasn't.
The umpire missed that one.
Already blowing the whistle to pay it. Montagna to Gwilt. Gwilt nothing on inside 50. Not one St Kilda player inside the 50. Look at it, you can see the beautiful pictures there. But they may not need it because Graham can kick him from outside 50! And there's that goal umpire. Chesty bombs. A minor score.
I think he's the pin-up boy for all goal umpires, BT. He's the
go-to man.
He's the man.
If they're going to do a calendar, he's the one you'd have. Morris.
What would be the target market for a goal umpire calendar?
A weird bunch of people.
Just with Max Hudson almost available, I reckon one of the things that hasn't been acknowledged is the performance of Jason Blake. He just is just one of those guys that does the job week in, week out. He's never been heralded as a great St Kilda player, but when his career finally finishes, I think he will earn the honour of a great St Kilda club man.
12, 18 and 9.
The match review panel is in Monday morning.
There is the man in some sort of question.
It's really a question of just where the Bulldogs are at in their season.
It is, Jared. Yeah, look, they were good up until about 20-minute mark of the second quarter, and I think from then they've been disappointing. They really haven't had the intensity that St Kilda have had. St Kilda have out-tackled them, they've won more of the ball in them, and they've disposed of the ball better. And when you lose in those 3 areas, it's very hard to win a game of football.
Yeah, what's a good result for the Dogs here in this quarter? A 0-0 draw they'd be happy with, or?
I think they've got to win the quarter, BT.
Got to win the quarter.
They've come off 2 disappointing performances against West Coast and Carlton, and into this game they need to get some confidence back going into next week.
There's Hayes, and now Jones. Hayes again. So the Saints kicking towards the left of screen. A high ball in the Riewoldt direction. Hudson comes late, and a collision as a result of that. Cooney hard on the boundary line, took him on, had to get rid of it. Lucky he did in the end. Wilt kept it alive, and Milne will get a free in the back.
Actually been relatively quiet, Stephen Milne. He's one player that hasn't had much of the footy. He's done a bit of defensive work, but hasn't got near the sticks.
11 touches, hasn't got on the scoreboard at all, but Riewoldt, this man here, has.
Great kick that by Milne. Great kick. He was to the favoured side, out in front, and saw over the group of players and put it out to Riewoldt. Yeah, Nick Riewoldt has had a fantastic day today, and if he had converted all the opportunities he had, he could have kicked 5 or 6 goals.
Milne looks like he's getting great enjoyment out of goal assisting this year, or as previous years he's wanting to do it himself, but he looks like he's getting some real enjoyment out of it. Riewoldt comes in and kicks his 4th goal. Got the kicking boots on now, as Nick.
Yeah, he's been in some good form. He came into some form against Fremantle 3 weeks ago and continued on that last week, and then again this week has played some terrific form. 4 goals. Milne here, you know, he drops at the knees. I suppose you should try and roll with the tackle to prevent that happening, but very smart by Milne. And see the St Kilda forward line here. There's space for Riewoldt to lead into. The Western Bulldogs haven't been able to create that space that St Kilda had, but when you have that sort of space in front of Riewoldt, very, very hard to stop.
Well, you saw an extra Bulldogs player there.
Should have dropped in front.
He should have been in the hole. And that's the sort of stuff that Rod knew to be filthy about. If they let it all collapse here, it's going to be a very difficult week for them all, I think, at the Whitten Oval.
4-5 for Riewoldt. 3 of those behinds coming with his first 3 shots at goal, in fact. Long way out, difficult angles. St Kilda forward again. Some Dogs behind, this time Morris with the double fist to Harbrow.
Good play.
Really well done. In the end, here with the Dogs clearing, and a ball to Hargrave. Hargrave along the boundary to Murphy. As you've seen Murphy's...
I reckon Murph has worked really hard. I think he's tried to play on at all opportunities, but I think he still looks like a player that needs a bit of footy to reach his very best.
I think he's symbolic of the rest of the Western Bulldogs. He's played as well as he's been allowed to play. You talk about the Bulldogs being a little bit disappointing, which they have been, but St Kilda has squeezed the life out of the Western Bulldogs, not let them have the ball they need.
Graham with an escort down the ground. Did really well. Handball over the top comes to Gwill. He looked like the whistle had gone, but it hadn't. Umpire says play on through the feet of Ball, and an opportunity now for Montagna in low. Luke Ball still there as well.
As a midfielder, BT, there's a release point. There's a right release point. And Graham just went past that. There's a point where you should deliver in the forward line. He just took a step or two too far. It's great play, trying to create play, but sometimes you've got to release that ball a little bit earlier.
Hudson.
You think he might have been trying to get inside 50, Hurdy?
It might have been the goals, the dollar signs picked up on the eyeballs.
Hayes with a strong don't argue. Cooney, kick to the boundary line. Saints all over this ball. Fast hands Hayes. Goddard. Look at the quick use of the handball. All of those handballs under pressure, all of them finding a target. Now the kick. Fisher to Gardner. Even the big man doing some evasive footwork that most small men would be proud of. Gilbert.
Surely you go to Riewoldt one out.
He now goes in that direction. Kick a little bit too far out in front. Morris gets a hand on it. Keeps it running parallel with the boundary line in hope that it does go over and he has a win in the end.
The kick should have stayed within the 50 though, Gerald. I agree with you. Should have gone to Riewoldt, but should have put it
Overhead.
over his head, so he had kept it in that forward 50.
Bulldog official looking rather worn out with all of the day. A bit of a yawn on the bench. Here is an opportunity for McQualter just to polish this off, and misses to the left.
St Kilda players probably playing for their spots, aren't they? When there's such depth now and such battle for contest that the guys in the fringe there would just be trying to get a kick and trying to stay in the game and tackle and do the hard things so they stay in that team.
Been a quiet day for Lindsay Gilby today, kicking in, getting hold of the ball. I'm a big believer in Lindsay, but he has been quiet. There's Gilbert. Kick to the Doug Hawkins wing, which is the city side here at the Dome, and Farren Ray being superb today.
Yeah, he's had the last laugh. A lot of Bulldog supporters have been giving him the razoo, but they've been giving it to him every 3 seconds.
Struggled to get a game at the Dogs.
And I don't think that's any criticism of the Dogs. I think sometimes players just need to get a reminder of how hard you have to work, and Farren Ray's a different player now than he was when he was wearing the opposite jumper.
Harbrow has Eagleton. Back to Harbrow and back to Eagleton. They're going nowhere with this one. Eagleton eventually found Hudson some space, but Lenny Hayes is going to make it hard for Big Minnow. Look at Minnow swatting them away. Come on, Lenny, get me if you can. A bounce, and then the ball over the top to Hill. Well done, Minson, as Hill lets it rip and goal.
Well, you can see exactly how Rodney Eade wants the side to play. Quickly, hard, run, get the ball through the middle of the ground. You can see what he wants out of Josh Hill as well.
The Hudson handball to the big fella looked like a bad option, didn't it, Jared?
It did. It was a bad option. But Will Minson actually turned it into something unique.
I think Lenny Hayes might have to do some sprint training. He'll cop that at training, I'd say, being outrun by the big ruckman.
Well, I reckon Rodney Eade's going to say to Will Minson on Monday, come here, have a look at this.
Yep.
Why don't we see you running as hard as that, into attack, into defence?
Well, there's been 3 things that Will Minson's done. There have been 2 contested marks early in the first half that were fantastic. And that run that shows he's got the desire and probably the talent to do it. He's just not putting it all into one game.
Big Minson. Rodney Eade taking a close look at his charges and finding out a little bit more about them in this situation.
If you look at the difference, it's hard to see on the TV, but the difference between the Western Bulldogs forward line and the St Kilda forward line, St Kilda are dictating in the back line. They've clogged it up. There's 6-on-6 or 7-on-7, whereas in the St Kilda forward line, there's only 3-on-3.
There's Griffin. Addison put his head over the ball and won a nice one. No free.
And that's simply because the Bulldogs have decided to go man on man. St Kilda have keeping their back 6 back, and rather than the Bulldogs pushing blokes high, their far forwards up the ground, they're going one-on-one.
There's Brendon Goddard. Also been spectacular today with 30 touches. Schneider. Goddard again, propped it up. Hargrave keeps the arms free so he can whip the handball out. Geary really attacked it quite nicely. So did Eagleton. And we'll have a ball up. .41 margin for the Saints. Dal Santo comes into the game from the bench. Baker, backhand. Hargraves, there's Minson. Acker, nice handball in the end, got it to Griffin. On to Clooney. Wants the handball sideways to Gier. He looks but nothing to centre the ball. It was a very nice kick as well. And Lakers taken the mark.
And he's finally gone forward, Jared. We prophesised and we discussed it at the start of the game, and it's taken till now to go forward. But I think you're right. I think he's followed his man down on this occasion.
Yeah. A good kick from Gian Syracuse, though. He spotted him and put it in a really dangerous spot. And this could actually determine the future of the Western Bulldogs, Brian, because if this goes through, the encouragement of playing forward, I think, will start to mount. And if he misses,
well, he's done the ladder, Jared. And Brian Lake has got Rodney Eade just a little frustrated. So on that occasion, Leon Cameron in the box. And Sean Triplett, one of the assistants. There's Fisher marks.
that's a good run. He's run 60 metres to provide that option.
So the wash-up from round 6, really, Jared, is there's 3 serious contenders at the moment, isn't there?
Well, you're looking at one, and I think there's probably more than 3. I reckon Carlton you'd have to add to that group. Hawthorn and Geelong would be your other two.
I mean, Hawthorn and Geelong, obviously, but there's a great pass by Riewoldt when you get tail up and kick the ball. The Western Bulldogs really being dictated to now by the St.Kilda forward line.
I think the question mark as to the sides challenging is where Port Adelaide are at.
Yeah, they were terrific last week, but there's yesterday, but there's still a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde to be convinced by a lot of people that when they're put under pressure and played on other terms, whether they can compete with the best sides.
What a great chance, Port. They're 4-2. They play North and Richmond over the next 2 weeks as Snyder comes in and looks for his 3rd goal and kicks it for the Saints.
And he's really kicked on as a St Kilda player, Adam Snyder. He's become a premiership player, but I think he's a more consistent player now as he's matured, works hard, and he's fulfilling a really good role for the Saints.
Yeah, he's fulfilling a role. I mean, the ball's going to go into long to Riewoldt and Koziski a certain amount of times, and his role is to get up the ground and then come back with the flight of the ball and kick your 2 or 3 goals off a crumb or off a mark like that, and that's what he's doing. He's providing other goal-kicking options for Riewoldt, Koziski, Milne. It's a good option to have.
So, James, you don't include Port Adelaide in your top?
Oh no, it's not that I don't. I think they're a good side. Probably more my point was that at the really top echelon, I think that St Kilda have stepped into that top echelon of Geelong and Hawthorn.
There's Blake.
And I think that just outside that you've got Port Adelaide, Carlton, and the Western Bulldogs, but over the last 3 weeks the Bulldogs I think have slipped in everyone's a little bit in people's estimations.
They have the Western Bulldogs over the next 3 weeks. They play Adelaide and Adelaide next week, then Melbourne and then Geelong here at the Dome. There's Blake. And they need to win at least 2 of those next 3.
Yeah, the Adelaide game's a big one for them, isn't it? You wouldn't want to drop that Adelaide game.
As it is for Adelaide.
Knowing that, you've got Geelong coming up after Melbourne.
It's the sort of game when you get to round 22, is that, gentlemen, fueled up by an interesting mix of excitement, enthusiasm, and the sponsor's product gave a little bit of advice.
I notice all of his friends had left him. So he might be just becoming a little annoying towards the end of the day. There's Dal Santo. Down the line, Milne was able to take his man under the ball. Nicely done. And the handball out in front of Milne.
Very good body work by Milne just to prop and hold his man out. Unfortunately, he couldn't get that handball back, because if he had, I think it would have been one of the more exciting goals for the year.
Let's go down to Rowan Smith. Smithy, the Bulldogs where do you see them at the moment, given that this is a loss of significant proportion, but against a side that Hurdy suggests is now at the very highest order?
Let's not take any credit away from St Kilda, Jared. They've been fantastic today, but you can just see the way the Bulldogs are playing. They can't afford to bomb the ball just into their forward 50. When the Bulldogs are at their best, they just pinpoint accuracy. Well, Shawnee Higgins goes into the forward 50 here now, and it just gets smothered there. The St Kilda back line have just been dominant today. Yeah, we're just struggling at the moment.
Hill having a shot for goal forward, just couldn't quite complete it.
What about the smother from Jason Blake? I mean, the game's done and dusted, and yet we're still getting unbelievable efforts.
There's a terrific smother here, Jared. Smitty, I agree with you. I think that what they have been able to do is we see Ackerman, it's a great tackle, turn the ball over for a shot for goal. But I agree with you that the Bulldogs haven't been able to pinpoint their passes. But in big games, high-pressure games, you haven't got the luxury of pinpointing passes. Yeah, how are they going to change that?
Well, it's a $6 million question. I think it's a broken record in Bulldog history, but you just look at one end with Riewoldt up there as Acker's coming in here now to try and kick the goal.
Ackermanis as straight as you like. He has kicked the goal, his second goal of this game.
So you can see with Riewoldt at one end, and really no tall forward. I suppose Will Minson's played down there a little bit today, but no tall forward up the Bulldog end. It's just starting to struggle a little bit, especially when they bomb the ball in.
He was waiting, Acker, wasn't he? It was like he was hiding behind a pole. He was just ready to jump out. He sort of ducked down.
The moment the umpire called play on, look at this, pounced on him. Bang. Was he too close to the man is the only question. I think you're supposed to give 5 metres. I reckon he was about 3.
Well, when we're measuring the height of the ground, when it does drop away, but we might go out and see if that was 3 or 5 metres.
Well, I did measure the 50 here in the very early days at the Dome in the first year, because I'm sure it wasn't 50, and it did measure out at 48.8.
Really?
The 50, and so it wouldn't be beyond them to build the ground on a slight slide. Here is an opportunity for Addison, who got met solid. He's an attempt to kick it and knocked away from Eagleton. Throw it in again.
Is it 50 now then?
Yeah, it's 50 now, I think, James.
So who are you giving your Brownlow votes to, Brian?
Today?
Yep.
Sure, there are too many worthy winners, but Brendon Goddard's been very impressive today. I think Farren Ray's probably been, has he been the best player on the ground as Acker?
I think Goddard's at the most performance.
Yeah, Goddard's the best. And I think Nick Riewoldt's been very good down the forward line as well.
Do you deduct if you miss goals?
Not what's he kicked. He's kicked 4-5. I think if he gets one more, that's 5. Can't go past him. 4-5, 12 marks, 15 disposals. Not bad for a guy playing deep forward.
So how do you work it out? A deep forward has to, what's a goal worth in terms of possessions? If someone has a 30-possession game, is that a 5-goal haul up forward?
I think it depends on the game. I mean, guys are getting 35, 40 possessions.
Cheapies, yeah.
This game hasn't been that, though. There haven't been many cheap possessions in this game.
There's Cross. The Dogs are pressing. Crossed it. And now an opportunity for Boyd, it was initially. And the mark is taken in the end by the Bulldogs directly in front of goal. And they'll line up, hopefully, for their second goal with Ryan Griffin. Well done by Hahn in the end to get it around the corner. So Ryan Griffin, here he is, directly in front. Hasn't kicked one today. Not more than about 25 to 30 metres. The ball needs to travel and just nurses it through. Very, very nice. Look at that umpire pump his chest out. Very nice work as Griffin gets his first of the day here late in the fourth.
And that's where the Bulldogs have been let down. They just haven't had enough ball in the hands of their really skillful players. I mean, his stats look all right with 20 possessions. Cooney's stats look all right with 20 possessions. Ackermanis, they just haven't been as effective as you would have liked them to have been to win this game. The Bulldogs coming into the game needed Ackermanis, Johnson, Griffin, Cooney, Gene Syracuse, Gilby to be really dominant players and use the ball as well as they do, unfortunately for them. Those guys just haven't had their ball in their hands enough.
36,302 people in here today. And that is, well, it's not a great crowd. 30,000 is a break-even crowd. David Smorgan and the Bulldogs would have forecast, I would have thought, a little bit more than 36. Not a very profitable day for them. There's Boyd breaking loose out of the middle. Went hard at it. Higgins had a little bit of trouble controlling it initially. Ball stole it from him. Here's Eddie. Got back to his feet quickly. Hayes. Partial smother. Fisher tries to crash through. Did he take him on? Doesn't matter because Hahn stole it off him. Plenty of pressure coming on the Saints here as the Dogs get some numbers around this contest. Eagleton. Harbrow. Around the corner. And Griffin could do nothing.
Still 10 minutes or just under 10 minutes of play remaining, but I think right now the Dogs have done enough to be competitive in this last term. No blowout, and I think that was looking like a genuine threat.
A 3-goal to 2-quarter for the Dogs. This one so far, as Stuart said, we're just about to enter red time. There's Griffin. And he did. You heard the umpire say he threw his foot at it, even though he did drop it to the ground. He at least tried to take a swing and made some sort of connection with the ball. Been pretty well umpired here today. It hasn't been a factor at all. They've done a very good job. McBurney, a solid, consistent bouncer of the ball. Hayes. Great handball. Baker went in to apply the shepherd. It's got the ball against Baker.
Hayes has always been a hard player and a contested ball player, but this year, the way he's thrown himself at the ball as we see this free kick, not sure exactly what that was for.
Holding the arm down, but very technical.
Yeah. High ball on the head of Goddard, and he marks in the defensive goal square.
But Lenny Hayes in the contested situation, whether it be tackling, whether it be winning the ball, or whether it be putting body pressure on, I think he's actually stepped it up again on what he was doing in previous years.
Brendan Goddard's field kicking is, if there's such a thing as world class, he's it.
Oh, good to Riewoldt, wasn't it? Really good user of the ball. Brendan Goddard. Riewoldt coming down to present up and assist the defence. This one's not a great kick, and Lake, formerly Harris, side ball and finds Gilby. Under 7 minutes remaining here at the Dome. Gilby with a little left foot controller. A nice ball has been marked by Boyd.
Well, that was just unbelievable skill from Lindsay Gilby. Took it on. Kick had to be absolutely perfect, not just in length, but also in height. And he plucked one.
It was a beautiful kick. He's one of the unsung heroes of the Bulldog midfield, Brad Boyd. Doesn't often get a lot of praise, but just very, very consistent with his performance, and off to the left. So the Bulldog fans in this home game can go home a little disappointed with this result today, and be unsure of where their club's at right now at 3 wins and 3 losses for the year after recording the first 3 victories of the year against Fremantle North and Richmond. They've now lost to West Coast Carlton and St.Kilda here today. Crosby around the corner to Riewoldt. But his man Lake pretty well beaten here. If he can get clean possession, he does. Handball backwards. Here's Hayes.
His work rate, Riewoldt, he's unbelievable. Look at him. He's back on it. He's run past 3 Bulldogs, and they've just let him go forward.
There's Hayes again. Wilt. Over the line, McQualter.
And he's come off a pretty quiet pre-season too, Jared.
Yeah, he had the big cyst on his knee, which was pretty ordinary even a month before the season.
His first couple of rounds were quiet. They weren't bad. They were just quiet.
Is he the hardest working big man in the game?
He's definitely the hardest working forward, I think, in the game, yeah. Yep. I mean, you've got Richo, who works pretty hard, but probably plays further up the ground. But, yeah, I think Riewoldt's, in the end, probably a harder worker.
Baker.
It looks pretty tight at the moment, though, doesn't he?
Keeps his feet, Riewoldt. And almost could have got a free then. The umpire said in the side.
But you get him off. I mean, the Saints can't win the flag if Riewoldt goes down. They've got the job done.
Yeah, look, why wouldn't you get him off him when you don't need him unless...
Well, we say that all the time in these sort of games where you've got an important player out there and there's nothing to win. But for some reason, coaches find it hard to take good players off for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Well, good players don't want to come off the ground, either do average players and not so good players. But I just think when you've got a guy that's had a history with a knee, he's got, well, fortunately he hasn't got tape shoulders anymore. He made that decision. when he's spent, might be worthwhile thinking about.
Ball. Just offline to the right. And finish it.
It's probably the one area he's going, Luke Ball, that he's been very good so far this year, that he's starting to have some more shots at goal, and he can put those through. It'll take him to another levels of play. He would like to kick those goals, I think.
There's Cooney. Kick didn't have enough carry on it for Pickin. Look at the desperation of Cross going in there. Really tried to pounce on the ball. Well done to Daniel Cross. It's bounced by the umpire, and we're ready to go again. Here is an opportunity for the Saints, working in tight. Pickin did well to Cooney, now backwards to Hargrave. He's looking to transfer the ball, but there was nothing on across the ground. Now they find some space. This guy can penetrate with some run. 3 bouncers, looking to draw the handball to Acker. He fell over. A late handball now to Acker. He tries to fend. And the Dogs in the end cost themselves. G and Syracuse are working hard in there, but just about all of those handballs were to someone under pressure.
He's still got great awareness, Jason Ackermanis. He was given a hospital handball. Didn't know someone was coming, but he had the right arm up with the fend off just in case. And he used it well enough to get away a possession.
Every time Griffin gets the ball and is given a bit of space, the Dogs look dangerous. St.Kilda have been great in their ability to stop Griffin having the ball and running like he was able to do just then.
Got our wish, and Nick Riewoldt comes from the ground now with just under 4 minutes remaining. The superstar forward will see no more of it. Here is Graham to Milne. Milne, I thought, could have marked that.
Yeah. He's trying to let the ball bounce and turn his opponent, or do something tricky, but in the end, you dive. You do whatever you can not to let the ball bounce, because the shape of the ball means it can go anywhere. In that case, it got away from his hands.
Here's Minson doing some fine ruck work. Hargrave will see a little chipping ball to Hahn. Hahn back to Hargrave. Now a long kick. Hill's there, and G and Syracuse as well. Over the back it comes to Hill. Needs the Ackermanis support. He's lurking. Got it to him. Not sure it was meant for him. Turned around on the foot, and he bit Ackermanis over the top, and has found Gilby. Now this is a spot that Riewoldt couldn't kick from earlier in the game. Here, let's see what one of the best can do in Lindsay Gilby. We know it's right to left. James Hurd has said
just inside the right post, BT.
Okay, just inside the right post. I say right at the right post. Let's have a look at Gilby here. And he's kicked it straight at the middle, and it's gone straight.
I reckon he even had a bit of left to right in there.
Probably did in the end.
Just a little bit of left to right.
Very nice kick from Lindsay Gilby.
Beautiful kick.
3 in a row for the Bulldogs. And they get it back to a respectable 28 points.
It's interesting when a guy who, with a beautiful kicking technique, has a shot for goal. He made that shot look very, very easy. He just left it out and brought it back. It's not where you would have kicked it, BT, but it worked, and he drew it back in beautifully.
Very, very nicely. Great effort.
Yeah, 28 points is not a reflection on the game, and I think the last 10 minutes, the Saints, the game's got to them, they've tired it out, but credit to the Bulldogs, they've been able to get their hand on the ball and move it through the centre of the ground a bit more.
Out of the middle, the Dogs again with just under 3 minutes remaining in this one here at the Dome on Twilight Football on Fox. Riewoldt wants to come back on the ground incredibly. And just sit down, Nick. Take breath and sit down and enjoy it.
A long way to go.
Yeah. There's Gilby. Acker. Higgins to Gia. And the kick forward along the ground. Blake recovers the ball, and now Saints will bring it out the Dockland side of the ground to Geary.
It's going to be an interesting selection decision, Hurdy, for the Saints when Max is ready to go, which I think is next week. What they do with Zach Dawson, who has not put a foot wrong.
That's one way to make a chess mark look harder than it is. No, you're right. Zach Dawson's been terrific since he's come into the side. Max Hudson's obviously got the form on the board, but
Max doesn't come straight back in.
No, I was going to say, you probably have to take him through the reserves and let him get a bit of form.
Especially with Maguire battling it out in the VFL for the last 3 weeks. 4 weeks even. Geary, more senior is Hudson, much more of a proven player, of course. We'll back out right, and Milne. And marks another one on the wing. Stevie Milne, 15 possessions.
Well, at least he keeps it entertaining for the rest of us.
I reckon he thought about it.
Yeah. What, the Jackie Chan
Really reduced it.
Watching too many movies, I think, during the day. Here's Cossey's long ball forward. It's a good-looking ball, too, to the advantage of Geary, but couldn't quite pluck it in. And we'll have a boundary throw-in.
Yeah, you'd put Kazitsky and Riewoldt just on ice, wouldn't you, for the rest of the season that's ahead.
Well, they're well served now because Michael Gardner has really come along this season. We know that Stephen King is also available after he recovers from his injury. So they're pretty well served in the big man department.
They are.
Is the balance of the side with the 3 big men? I know they played them during the year and they've done pretty well to them, but Kazitsky, Gardner and King, 3 pretty big guys to have in the team at one time.
I reckon Kazitsky's such an important player up forward that they're able to do that.
Yep, fair enough.
And you've got McAvoy, of course, who's a very high draft selection. Still just trying to work his way into the team.
Now the Saints are just happy to run the clock down here with under half a minute remaining. The players called play on, but the Dogs aren't interested in trying to get it off him either. They'll be happy for this clock to run down. 14 goals, 20 here today for the Saints. They're going to remain undefeated in season 2009. A fine effort. This is their first win against a Victorian side of the year in front of 36,302, and fitting that the skipper Nick Riewoldt has the ball in the hand, completing the game. Riewoldt today kicking a couple of goals, but the Saints fans are very happy with what's happened. Brad Johnson congratulating his former teammate Farren on a fine performance.